All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to our 15th anniversary hangout on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am DDO's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I'm excited to be with you here today. We're going to be rolling through 8 o'clock tonight, just hanging out, having some fun, chatting. We're going to be in the live game worlds, doing a few drops. Going to try to keep the game worlds in a pretty good place, though, this year, probably, fingers crossed, because certainly we've never had that problem in years past. But on top of that, we're also going to have a visit by some fine folks of the DDO team who are hanging out in a Discord with me here for a little bit. So I see one person on video, so let me start with you there, Kokomajobo. How you doing?
Fine, yourself?
Good, good. So we're just going to kind of hang out and have some fun, talk about whatever, people would like us to talk about for the most part, and just sort of celebrate 15 years of DDO. Technically, today is both our 15th anniversary, and technically Sunday is. What's up with that, you might ask? Well, our retail release was February 28th, 2006. Back in the day, if you were going to go to, I don't know, like your Circuit City, or your local Kmart, perhaps, to purchase a copy of the game on CD-ROM, as it were. That is the day you could pick it up, is on February 28th. However, the actual game worlds were live by the 26th. We had employees, Turbine employees and folks back then, some of the alpha people were starting to come in, and I believe even beta access was open on the 26th. So this whole weekend, this is the year actually, this whole weekend is a great time to celebrate DDO because 15 years, Friday, Saturday, Sunday essentially was our launch push back in the day in 2006. Now, I wasn't there. And not too many people in our chat here were either, I don't think, right? Was anybody around here for launch?
For which launch?
DDO's launch.
I was around for both of them.
Okay. Yeah.
I was technically actually in QA for the first one. Actually, no. I moved over to design just before we launched the first time, and then we did, a few years later, we did the free play launch.
Yeah.
To give you all a sense of how old DDO is, and also to make you all feel very old, I was in high school when this game launched.
What? No, I know. Okay.
I was also in high school when this game launched, just barely.
I was working.
It's been a while, now that I think about it.
Sure. No, but we're not going to talk about how old we are. We're going to talk about how, right? No, surely that's not what we're going to talk about. But anyway, so it's, nonetheless, this is a kind of a killer weekend for it because it really was a 3-day launch day, as it were, for DDO back in 2006. And that happens to fall on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we got some things like, say, 15% Heroic and Epic XP, 15% VIP on top of that, and that's on top of the 10% VIP XP total. So my math says that you're getting a total of 40% Heroic and Epic XP if you're a VIP this weekend, and that doesn't suck. On top of that, you can redeem the coupon code if you have not yet. That's Happy15DDO. Happy15DDO, and that's going to get you a 15th anniversary cloak along with a bunch of items. How tough was it coming up with that list? Is it? Do we have you? How many of you?
Oh,
Now, not everyone here has made loot that's in our Discord, but over the years, how many thousands of items have been made, and how do you pick it for like the 15th anniversary thing?
kind of going into this list, I wanted us to kind of have a mix of raid items we hadn't offered in the 10th anniversary, in terms of gifts, and just some things that I knew were classics, stuff that, people that weren't around for the 10th anniversary say, man, I wish I had been able to snag that.
Yeah. And yes, the Quiver of Alacrity's back. So if you missed it for the Raiders Reward Box Part 1 or Part 2 or the 10th anniversary, this is your chance. You're probably not going to get another chance for a freebie until the 20th.
Yeah.
And we're not promising it's going to be in the 20th list, by the way. No, we are. We're going to promise that it's in the 20th reward list 5 years from now. Surely they will listen to us. Yeah. Sorry, I meant for the, let's see. Yeah, it is 40% because you got a 15% bonus, 15% VIP XP on top of your 10% VIP. So 25 and 15 is indeed 40%. I'm sorry, I do know how to math on Twitch chat. Anyway, that's where I was coming up with my number there. So I'm going to try to go into the game world, and I'm going to go alphabetically. It'll be probably something in the range of only about 15 to 20 minutes per world, because with 8 worlds, if I did a half hour in each world, that would be the full 4 hours. So instead, it's going to be kind of an abbreviated thing where I'm dropping some loot list items and things in game. I have to be really careful though, because I can't have like 100 people suddenly swarming a public area, because occasionally that is bad for the game worlds.
Just make a dragon. That generally like sorts things out.
Well, you say that, but I like to do that too, and that's caused some problems in the past when they don't despawn. I'm looking at you that one time during the 10th anniversary that there was a dragon in the marketplace accidentally until the next reboot. Yeah. But I'm totally not going to do that this time.
Purple chipmunk?
Right. Oh, I wish we could. Oh, no, that's in the new raid, right? The big one?
I could totally give you a file if you want to make a purple chipmunk. I can make that happen.
Nice.
Actually, I have to look to see, because he has custom scripting. I actually don't know quite what he'll do. He might just sit there and look like a chipmunk. I mean, he might not do anything. I'll have to check.
That's what usually happens with raid monsters and raid bosses, is that if you throw them just by creating the file name, they don't work correctly.
Exactly right. Yeah, and over the years I've learned that I should really just stick to the low-level mobs anyway. They're easier to kill if you have to wipe them out by, like, you made a mistake or something like that. So.
An elite epic purple chipmunk would be hilarious.
That would be pretty good. Although, ever since Legendary Shroud, I have had the ultimate one, which is the Death Cube. That is the best way to end a public appearance if you really want to be a jerk. Or you warn them ahead of time.
I love that thing.
It does look like Hirsim sort of turns him on, as it were. Interesting.
30-day trial discs for the win. Oh my gosh. I remember it was probably around it was a few years before the DDO launch. I was pretty much living on trial discs, AOL trial discs, and I don't think I was alone. They didn't want you to cancel, and they made that very clear back in the day once you tried to cancel your AOL trial disc. It was a good thing if you were a broke college kid, though. Or working in radio.
Hitting Control-C and toggling on my thing. I never did the AOL thing. We had local bulletin board systems around here, in the Boston area I used instead. I did not quite ever.
Yep. Well, I bet Boston had a much...
Or you're not even talking about that far back, are you?
Well, I could be. I actually bet Boston had a much more robust internet service than it had available to me in the relatively rural parts of the Midwest.
I remember, yeah. I'm not sure if I should go that far back. All right.
All right.
Yeah, don't go too far back, because I know I'm older than you.
Someone's got to be.
All right,
That's
so
why we
I'm
keep
on
Chowder on.
Arganesson, and people on the Twitch channel can now see where I am on Arganesson. And if you want to stop on by, I'm going to be dropping a few things from the loot list. So I wanted to mention that this year in particular has been if we look at kind of DDO history and the story of it, this is the year we all mostly worked from home. And so pretty much everyone's here on Discord sitting at their home computers or home workspaces at the very least. What's it now for me? It hasn't really been that bad because I do a lot of social media work, a lot of online work, a lot of stuff that is relatively location agnostic. You guys are making quests and stuff. How do you actually get all this done? I mean, without getting into like security stuff, how tough has it been to actually make quests and stuff while working from home?
I mean, we sort of had to relearn how we did everything a little bit. Everything changed like 5-10%, but it wasn't too bad once we kind of got through the first month. Every now and then something like breaks that doesn't normally break, and we're dealing with some extra issues, but we powered through and kept making stuff.
Yeah.
I think that most impacted facet is just communication, because we had processes in place, based on a certain circumstance that is no longer true, and so it's like an adjustment to figure out how to make sure everyone's on track and to has the ability to check in with each other when they need something in a way that is both effective and not infringing on their private space, because everyone's working at home and on different slightly different timelines than they would normally would be, and
we can no longer just yell across the office.
Yeah, I do miss the pit a lot.
Yeah. I don't think I realized quite how much of our process was shouting things at each other until, we weren't in the same room anymore.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all the verbal stuff, but it's also just the kind of small coordinations that take place. It's like, hey, is this right? That kind of stuff. That was just a quick aside to someone sitting across from you, and now you have to get through the internet process, right?
Yeah, and also things like I in the office, it's easy to sort of know what's going on in other departments just by hearing what's going on, and when that's not happening because you're working from home, you maybe don't always know what's going on with other departments. You kind of have to go looking for information more than, say, we used to.
Yeah. Has it impacted the creative process at all? Because on the one hand, you've got access to all the cool stuff you have at home, which tends to be, the stuff that's maybe closest to your heart in terms of influence and things, right?
I mean, yes, although all of my D&D books are still at the office. I guess I bought some new ones since then, but my original D&D books are still sitting there, untouched for a year. The main thing that's missing is, while we're yelling at each other in the office, we're not just discussing work stuff. We're saying, it would be cool if, or why haven't we ever done this? And that sort of casual brainstorming doesn't happen as much when you're working from home.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it still does happen. We managed to make a musical last year, in addition to an expansion pack. So
yeah, we should totally
ideas.
mention. We'll bring that up here in a little bit. The music aspect of it in particular. I guess I was thinking though, it's for one, I remember when we were all kind of cleared out of the office. It was kind of a rolling thing with this whole COVID, right? People were, it's like, well, if you can't make it, if you're not comfortable coming into work, it's fine. No one. This is a video game studio here, right? It's fine. But also, I remember it was around, I think, March 19th-ish or so that the office was kind of formally shut down. And I remember pretty much it being, besides, obviously people had a lot of work-related stuff to get, but the other big thing was all of our RPG books were in the office, because we mostly played our tabletop games with friends from people in the office, or at least from that general part of the world, right? So how many of us had our personal RPG books in the office? Probably most of us.
You only have one copy?
I mean, I still do.
Well, right.
I just
I
left it there.
I have 3 auxiliaries. I don't even I forget I own a book and I buy it again.
A mix of things here and there.
Right. Yeah, so all my 3rd ed books are at the office and all my 5th ed books are here at home.
I've been going, we've been going back to 1st edition on some of this stuff. This has been great. I have some really old, I probably could dig up some of my, now that we talked about Saltmarsh, I could dig up my old copies of it.
Right, so Drive-Thru RPG has been getting my business, because of all this.
Yeah.
When I need to look up things like Saltmarsh or other things we looked at this year.
Yeah. So speaking of, let's talk a little bit about this raid,
But,
because we happen to have someone here who made it.
Fundamentally, this is a game about ideas, imagination, and that we can take home.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let me talk about the musical raid, because we've got Torque here with us. So, how did it come about that we went from long-standing office? I wouldn't say in-joke, because it was always half serious or more, but this kind of long-standing thing of, wouldn't it be awesome to make a musical dungeon? And to the point that we are now releasing a musical raid.
Well, if I can up my co-designer, I believe it's Artemis, right? That's who I think it is?
Yeah.
Artemis. We basically had someone who could actually write music. We basically had the musical assets, and then like the moment we realized we had what we needed, we were like, okay, this is really going to happen this time.
Years ago, when we were just kind of like saying, "Oh, we should do a musical dungeon one of these days," we're like, "Do we have anyone who could write the music?" Well, no, not really. Do we have anyone who could write the lyrics? Not really. But now that we've got Bill Champagne doing music for us, and Artemis, who is, fond of poetry, we suddenly said to ourselves, "Oh, wait, we could totally do it now." So we did.
Yeah.
And also, it fit in with Feywild because Here Sam is a god of music, amongst other things.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of joke that anytime anyone needs like a poem or anything, that I will just immediately jump on it because I just find it to be so much fun. So when we were talking about the doing the lyrics and stuff for the musical raid, I was like, yes, please let me do it.
Nice. Also, welcome, Artemis. I believe this is the first time we've heard your voice on the show here today, so welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. I am notoriously shy, so I've been avoiding it, but for the anniversary, I had to pop in.
Yeah. No, much appreciated. So, you must know musicals pretty well then, Artemis.
Yeah,
or at least have
I'm
a
kind
fan
of a
circle,
Broadway
right?
nerd, so
Okay.
it's definitely one of the things that I'm very familiar with.
So, was it tough to actually... Okay, so now we've got the concept, we've got the idea of what the words could be. How do you actually execute raid mechanics in a way that works with sort of a musical presentation?
Well, we were like, okay, we're going to try this. But it's not like we knew exactly how it would gel. We kind of like, one of the things we wanted to avoid is we didn't want to have an over amount of like drama time where like player is basically watching and it doesn't really have anything to do. But we had a lot of, once the music started to form, we had a lot of lyrical music. We had a lot of music to work with. So we ended up splitting it up where we have like, there's the parts when Hirschman and Hoffman are talking, we would refer to them as intermission, and they have like a track, that drum track. And then we would go into like, now we're starting the show, and like we go into like verse 1 or the bridge or a bunch of musical stuff that like Sonia could explain better than I could, because I kind of just, they handed me the music and I was worrying about the gameplay. But we figured it's like, we'll have the music playing during the action. And yes, in the beginning, when the players first experience that, they're going to be like, oh my God, they're singing and I'm trying to follow the lyrics, but I'm also trying to follow the mechanics, and this is going to be crazy. But, that's kind of like that first wave experience. But as you learn the mechanics of the raid, you don't have to communicate or, well, frankly, panically shout at each other as much. You're going to basically pick up more and more of the music. It's kind of like driving, where you don't listen to a song and get all of the lyrics in the first go. As you go through, as you hear the song each time, you pick up a lyric gradually. That's kind of, I feel like, the approach we ended up settling on.
Yeah.
Someone in the Twitch comments is pointing out that the music continues. If you should be so unfortunate as to lose, the music continues to play after you leave the raid, and that is indeed intentional. And you should listen to the lyrics, because Hirschman's got some things to say.
Cool. All right. So, how did you rate the raid in terms of, did you want it to be something that was really difficult? And with a musical thing, we're probably looking at a somewhat slightly broader audience, so that would involve maybe making it a little easier than, say, You're Too Hot to Handle. How do you balance that?
I mean, so we have multiple audiences who want different things at DDO. You know, we have people who kind of are like, we gotta throw some friends together and we want to just get this thing done and experience the content and the story. And we're not looking at like, you know, a strategic obstacle we want to spend months on chewing on. And then we have people who like they like it hard. They want a challenge that they can sink hours of thought and time into and restructure their builds. So when we started seeing like how the music was forming, it was just, I mean, we felt like it was really coming together, and we wanted everyone to be able to experience this sort of. I mean, I had this kind of initial design that was sort of already taking this approach, but we kind of like leaned into it where we made hard optionals. I'm still not sure how hard those optionals are, but we basically put a lot of the difficulty into these optionals, which you can just let go. Like, you do not have to do them. And we tried to make the raid pretty easy and accessible in general. So we tried to cater to both crowds, where basically like those people who want to really, you know, go for it, they basically want to try to do all the optionals. And people who just want to experience the story and the music, they can like, you know, maybe they do a optional, but if they had a particularly difficult time with one of them, they can really just let that optional go and just proceed with the experience.
Cool. I'm just spawning a few things in game. As a matter of fact, we have hand sanitizer that we made for PAX East in 2012. And it's one of the few community items that literally everybody can benefit from because it prevents mummy rot, and besides just curing it. And so it's a great little item, and it's actually probably more relevant than ever before.
Yeah.
Old is new again.
But it makes for a nice little event item. Alright, I'm going to have to head off Argonescent here. I think I'm starting to see a little too much rubber banding. So, thanks everyone on Argo. Let me wave to you. And call it done. Alright, so, Saltmarsh. That's the other thing we've been talking about. What's up with Saltmarsh, and who's working on it? I imagine some of the people here are.
I'm working on it right now. The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh is a classic first edition module.
Oops. Hang on a quick second.
Around classic low-level D&D.
That's the horn I want.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I screwed up audio and something that was hidden force played on show, and so I lost your audio there. That would be you, Knockback. Yeah, just to repeat if you could, Knockback. Sorry about that. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Twitch is saying we have no audio.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about
Sorry.
to say.
Sorry. Yeah.
We will now
Sorry.
do this with
Take
signs.
3. This is live.
They can't see us.
This is live audio.
Well, they
for
can't
us,
hear us,
Point of the
Jerry.
pen, he's
Yeah,
out
I
of
know.
the-
This is live audio, everyone. Take 3. Take 3. Sorry about that. We were
Okay.
talking a little bit about Saltmarsh. Sorry, I had a bit of an issue. So something that I'm going to be playing later for everybody here. I accidentally played when I changed scenes, and I changed scenes because I need to switch game worlds. And then because I switched priority, you couldn't hear me, and everything went to heck. Oh my gosh. And now we're back. So anyway, we're talking a little bit about Saltmarsh.
Yes. So the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh is going to be based on some classic first edition modules. It will be more low-level classic D&D play. It'll follow on directly from Keep on the Borderlands. So if you played Keep, you could like go straight into Saltmarsh. Should be out during the summer, and it will be a mini expansion.
Jerry, do we want to do like a little preview, or?
I mean, what is there anything we can actually preview here?
I mean, I can just share my screen right now, but
I'm not sure if that's
I think
allowed.
landscape should be fine.
Okay.
If it's landscape, it's probably okay. But if it's anything other than landscape, I would say, and we couch it as work in progress, etc., that's probably okay.
So we're going to show them the swamp in progress.
I'll
Yeah.
Marsh. It's not a swamp, it's a marsh.
stream.
Yeah.
So this is all heavily in progress. We're still in the planning stages of the biome, but I have a basic layout of what we're shooting for.
Okay, cool. Yeah, people can see this fine. All right.
So yes, as part of this, there we go. We're going to have an actual landscape for the town of Saltmarsh and the area around it.
Yeah.
Very nice. I wish
Yeah.
Massachusetts looked like that now.
It's actually kind of funny because when I first saw this kind of in-house, as it were, that was my impression. I was like, wow, it actually kind of looks like a little bit of almost Massachusetts in the fall, but not quite.
It's almost like it's being built by an artist who grew up in those conditions.
Yeah, almost like I had a salt marsh across the street from me.
All right, I think we're gonna leave that teaser video at that point, though. So I think we'll stop watching it at that point. Thanks for letting me tease that. Though. That was pretty sweet. And again, that is really early development stuff. It hasn't really been checked over by everyone who needs to check it over. So that's why we wanted to be a little hesitant about it. But that is currently how it looks anyway.
Guess there will be low level, heroic, and also an epic version.
That's right, and I believe the levels we're at least shooting for is something that would continue onward from the Keep of the Borderlands region, right? About level 3, something like that.
Yeah, we might split it between levels 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, depending on some internal stuff. But it's primarily level 3. The intent is that you get out of Keep on the Borderlands and you can go to Saltmarsh in heroics, and then in epics we are still debating internally what it's going to be, but we're currently leaning towards cap.
It's going to be a cap for it. Probably, right?
That's my expectation at this moment, but I'm not willing to commit to it.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Epic Destinies. We talked a little bit about Saltmarsh. Or actually, we haven't talked much about Epic Destinies yet. Maybe we should, huh? We talked a little bit about Saltmarsh, though, and we talked a little bit about some of the other kind of big topics. I guess that was on my mind. Why don't we talk a little bit about Epic Destinies? That's going to be something that I know at least Steelstar, right? You're going to be doing a bunch of work with later this year?
Yeah. Between myself, Torque, and Linabel, we are working really hard on the Epic Destiny revamp coming later this year.
And, at this point, it's still... How much of it is still in the design space, and how much of it is...
Seemingly.
Shoot. Okay.
No,
yes,
you did not lose audio. I just have to keep Discord prioritized so you can hear me.
Okay.
However, yes, I heard what you said there in terms of Epic Destinies. Now, we don't... How much of this is still in the early design space, and how much of this is starting to come together in a place that, maybe you'd be a little more comfortable talking about?
So I have one Destiny that's in almost playable shape. The overall system is still being worked on. So we haven't reached the point yet where we can really play these in game yet. But we have at least high-level designs for how the system is going to work, high-level designs for all the trees, and one tree is close to done, and a bunch of others are in some form of progress.
So, if people are really used to the Epic Destiny system now, how much of this is going to be, hey, we've burned it to the ground, and how much of this is going to be, we've given it a renovation?
Ooh. I'd say it's in a lot of ways fairly different from existing Epic Destinies in terms of structure, but maybe a little closer to other progression systems in DDO. That said, a lot of abilities that are in the current Epic Destinies are going to come back in some form. They might not be exactly the same, might look a little different, play a little different, be rebalanced, be repositioned, and quite a bit of new stuff too.
Thematically, though, our trees are going to largely be the same. Is that right? So we're still looking at like arcane, divine.
Yeah, those distinctions are a little less important in the new system than they were in the current one, where what sphere something is in is especially important. But a lot of the trees that are in the current system are coming back in the new system. Not all of them, but you're going to see a lot of familiar here.
And otherwise, we've already announced that we're not changing, say, the epic reincarnation loop, as it were, or the structure of really reincarnation. So do you expect this to have a big impact on the reincarnation process, or really just more the leveling process of 20 to 30?
Really more the leveling process itself. I honestly think it's going to open up a lot of really interesting builds, which ought to make the process of going from 20 to 30 a lot more interesting, because there's just a lot more ways you'll be able to bring a character through that set of content and those levels.
Real quick, for those of you who are watching on Twitch, I am indeed on Kaneth, and I'm in House Kundarak for a little bit here until it gets too crazy. So there we go. Hey, I know I don't want to. Especially, we're still relatively early on Epic Destinies, despite the fact that we've been talking about it for quite some time now. In terms of design and implementation, there's still quite a ways to go. So I don't want to tie your hands or anything like that.
I think the main things that people need to understand going into this is that one of our goals is to open up the flexibility of the system, whereas in the current implementation, you choose a destiny, you're locked into that one destiny, and you can grab individual abilities as twists of fate from other trees. And we kind of want the new Epic Destinies to work more similarly to heroic trees. And we're going to put it in a UI that is more reminiscent of those. And we're going to open up the ability to have 3 active trees at once, and you can spread your points between those 3 trees how you would like you can do with heroic trees currently. And so instead of choosing individual abilities as twists from other trees, you can combo 3 trees at once and then distribute your points in ways that you want. So it opens up this wide swath of new build possibilities is the main thing that's happening here.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because that was
right.
what I've been wondering when we might be able to talk more about. So
right, I
that's
wasn't
cool.
sure if we were talking about that quite that directly yet, but yeah, that's the plan. It's going to resemble heroic trees in a lot of ways, and your build structure looks a little bit like that. You're picking where you want to put your points and how heavily you want to spend in individual trees, where the trees are by and large the destinies you already know.
Nice. And, again, early design space here. So when it comes out and it's based on flavors of ice cream, don't say we didn't warn you.
Oh, man, we should do that.
Yeah, which flavor of Epic Destiny do you want?
All of them. I want the Neapolitan Epic Destiny.
All right, let me try to ask a little bit of Twitch chat here, see if I can find a couple of good questions. I know that we've been getting a lot, and I just haven't really been focusing on it too much yet. So what does it mean specifically as it sits today? What's your thoughts on what it'll mean when you hit level 20? in terms of an Epic Destiny update? I know that we don't want to get too much into the mechanics, but that is the start of Epic levels, and that's when really this Epic Destiny system is going to come into play, right?
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, we are still making adjustments to the system, so exactly how much you'll have to play with as you enter epics at 20 is still kind of in limbo. But ultimately, you will have trees available and some points to spend, and you can put points into some of those trees, get some skills that will, hopefully complement some of the skills you've picked up in Heroic. It should feel fairly familiar in that way.
Yep. All right. Let's see. What else we got for Twitch chat here? I'm quick on Caneth. I am going alphabetically on the server list. What about content for low-level epics? I know that comes up periodically. We did do a little bit of that this past year. Any thoughts on maybe doing something like that again?
I think the Catacombs revamp went reasonably well, and we might very well do similar touch-ups on content where they don't have an Epic version, so we'll fill them in somewhere in Epics as we do like a fairly significant polish pass on them and try to revamp them.
All right, I am actually spawning a dragon in the live game.
Let me see if this chipmunk will work. Hold on.
But I found one that says it's from standalone update 31, so I don't have to worry about it interacting too much with anything else. So
Yeah, there are segments of
that dungeon's hard.
The epic leveling curve that besides Cap that we do want to fill out more, but that always comes at the expense of like content we could be putting in other places, and so like exactly how much time we're going to dedicate to each bit of the epic level curve from 20 to 30 it fluctuates from year to year depending on what our priorities are, and our priority is always going to remain primarily at Cap and filling that out and increasing that track up there, but we do want to find time to do things like Epic Catacombs and fill in some spots. But
and we got Legendary VOD done, so hey, we're already making progress over the past year here, looking back a bit. What about a blood option on graphics? Nope, unlikely. We are rated T for teen and kind of have particular thoughts about that, and we like being T for teen, so yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. Updating Titan has been one of those things that has been on the player Are We Ever Gonna list for quite some time, and we've been pretty upfront about the fact that Titan as a piece of content would be a huge task. What are we talking about there? Besides some of the, say, like maybe work on the story and characters, things like that, that is an older piece of content. That would be way different than, say, trying to legendarify a newer piece of content.
I mean, yes, for one thing, Torque doesn't know where all the bodies are buried.
Oh, I actually know where a lot of the bodies are buried in that one. There's just a lot of bodies. I mean, it's possible. The pre-raid would be a lot of work. Like the thing before it, fixing the Titan itself, actually, yeah, it could have some doing, but it could be done. We very well. It very well may happen. I felt like the revamps are very positively received so far, and if people like them, we'll keep doing them.
Right,
it's just a question of what first and when.
Yeah, if people in particular raids they want to see epified or enhanced, chime in.
Yeah, I know, Titan is one of those because it's one of our longest standing raids, and it's cool because you got a big Warforged Titan you're fighting off against and dropping pillars and firing lasers and what have you. It's pretty cool, right? But it's an older piece of content that's always had some long-standing bugs and kind of completion issues and what have you. So I imagine trying to dig into that from an archaeological perspective sounds like a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's not. There would be easier ones to do first, but it could be done.
Well, what do you want to do next then? Let's just like what would be easier to do?
I think Tower of Despair is what. Like, if I was guessing what they wanted, I suspect it would be Tower of Despair. But maybe I'm wrong.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, I was actually just getting flagged for that the other day because it's a popular guild run one in the guild I'm in. So.
Oh yeah.
That would be tough because that already is basically level 20. So do we do a 20? I don't think we've ever done a 20 and 30 before. It's always
that's the Lord of Blades all over again. I mean, like we had to. It was exactly the same thing with Lord of Blades and Artificer. That they were both near heroic cap level, and we would just keep it where it is in heroic and do a legendary level 32 version, and touch things up.
Yeah, it just requires us to build out its own separate quest file and stuff like that. It can't be attached because it's technically epics on the.
We probably need to do something about the boots because that's like pretty old and crusty.
Yeah, that's an older. MMOs can't get away with that nowadays.
I would have to make Blasphemy do something else entirely, which is something I would enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I mean, getting rid of the flagging mechanic is one thing. Getting rid of the boots itself, though, I don't know. Those might be handy boots to have.
We could rework them back. You happen to have them. Something nice was there was some minor advantage, but it used to be like sort of it was like a soft like gating mechanic where it's like, yeah, you can play the raid, but if Pit Fiend decides you're going, if you don't have the boots, out you go.
So I don't know if Steel Star, if you're here listening and able to. Okay, I want to make sure you were still on listening with your ears there. How Tower of Despair, the rings, Todd rings, had their day and were a pretty big deal back in the day. Maybe second only to heroic green steel in some ways. How would you even tackle trying to update something like Todd rings?
I mean, we've kind of said for a long time that if we were ever going to tackle that, we would do something that's more thematic than specifically attached to lines or trees, just because we have done so many changes and additions and things like that the overhead of needing to keep a certain kind of equipment in line with changes we do to the build meta is kind of a huge tax on our time. It's possible that we could do something that directly correlates to that, but I don't know. It's one of those we'd have to actually sit down, look at the scope of what it would take and what we could do that would be thematically interesting in the same kind of vein.
Yeah. All right. This question comes up quite a bit, but it's worth bringing up here again. What about things like spell component bags, potions, scrolls, all those UI bag issues that people would love to consolidate their inventory with? What would it take to actually get that done?
I mean, it's still the case that a lot of those usables aren't usable from inside bags. And I don't think we're planning on making bags from them if those things are just going to sit inside them and not be usable from there. On the tech end, I don't know the exact scope it would take to get that working, but my understanding is that it's not small.
To get them usable from a bag, that's immense.
Yes.
It's immense based on the infrastructure of bags.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those issues we're aware of, and it makes the list. But the list is long. So, I mean, I feel like we're going to get to it eventually because, well, like last couple of years, we've got to a lot more stuff than we ever got to before as far as, how I've been tracking time. So it might happen it might happen not too far in the future, but we don't have any immediate plans to tackle that, at least I think, in the next year.
Oh, hey, since I've got the person who did some of the mechanics for the raid here, Maddie6 from DDO says on Twitch, what about the shrine in the raid? I'm hearing maybe there's an issue with the shrine.
It should just work like a normal shrine. I have no idea why it doesn't. I fixed it by attaching it to a generator, though we have lots of shrines that don't need to be attached to generators that work. So I'm completely mystified, but they'll just start working in the next patch. Sorry.
And that next patch, we're roughly planning for next week on that. I
Yeah,
don't know
aiming-
exactly when, but something like
the
that.
current plan is sometime midwit next week. It's all up in the air based on how the build checks out, but we're aiming for mid next week. And it is worth mentioning that not everything I know of that is a problem with the current build, with the current patch, will get addressed in that, just based on time estimates I've gotten on some fixes. For instance, the Warforged cosmetics are probably not going to make it into that patch, and we'll need to go into a further patch after that.
Yeah, we've got a few little cosmetic issues with the anniversary, specifically a pants issue with some of our hirelings, and kind of an issue where some things that should be displaying are not on Warforged and a few other things.
The hireling cosmetic thing should be fixed for this coming patch. Kintani, who was on this call, actually took care of that.
All right, so Kintani, can you tell me why our hirelings lost their pants?
Oh, there was a lot of changes that were being made to how appearances work to try to work on the diversity project we promised people we were working on. And they had a negative impact on hirelings until we tracked it down and fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Likewise, it's possible there are certain random NPCs in the game who might have issues, similar issues. And if you see that in the game, please, drop us a note. Saying there's a guy who looks weird and didn't used to look weird.
I saw a couple of things right away saying, wait a second, that's got to be a bug. But does it? It is the 15th anniversary. We did debut Party Punch.
No, yeah, there were just some large structural changes to character skin texturing, and there are some unintended side effects.
Yeah. Diversity project, I'm not sure that we certainly haven't used that term publicly, but what we're aiming to do is diversify some of our assets throughout the game, and you'll be hearing more about that, I think. Well, you won't even necessarily hear more about it, you'll just see more about that as we kind of bring more of that kind of thing into the game.
Essentially we're trying to update our game from 2006.
Yep. Party Punch is currently in the DDO store, and what it does is it gives you a 5% chance to get party favors whenever you defeat a mob, wherever. And it's kind of similar to other event potions of their type, but we hadn't had one for the anniversary event yet, and so now we do. And we have a free coupon for one this week, so if you missed that, if you go into the DDO store and type in Punchy, you will get a free Party Punch, and that's good for an hour. So
an hour only in quests. It will pause in public spaces.
Yeah.
I ended up, because players were asking about some of the way it worked, I ended up kind of doing the Butcher's Path thing, just like for the Crystal Cove event, which you can kind of do if you're looking for quick ingredients. And I did not find it to be better than running the anniversary event in terms of raw numbers. So we haven't caused a major inflation issue, but it certainly has a nice alternative out there for those who want to do it.
Someone was asking about a hireling T-posing, which I remember happening to hirelings briefly, but I don't remember why. But I think it had something to do with the animation pass.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I haven't seen a T-posing hireling since patch. At least I'm not aware of it. So
I'm unaware of.
They said it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, any current things on that.
But whenever we do anything like add a new combat style or refine animations on a combat style, all the various race and gender combinations have to be updated with regards to their animations. And hirelings are pretty much players in that regard, so they have to get updated along the way. And since there's a lot of combinations, sometimes there are bugs.
Yeah. All right, I really like this next question that I've seen on chat. This is for anyone who's ever made a raid. I'm going to just say the way Matty6 puts it. For Torque, who made the raid, what's your opinion of the raid being done on R6 so quickly? Do you expect that? Are you hoping it takes longer? Let me kind of rephrase that to say, what do you think about all that work you put into a raid, and then our best players just stomp it on, like, day one? Does that hurt, or do you care? Not care?
Torque's camera went off, so
he did. He
may
might
have,
not be
Oh.
here. He might not be
but
here.
Steelstar's here, so
I've made a raid. I've made a couple of raids. For me, that kind of thing, it sort of depends on what the target of the raid is. We kind of target each raid about where we want it, and there's a very big difference in the intended difficulty of a raid like the one that just came out versus one like Killing Time or Too Hot to Handle. If it's our intent that it's meant to be mega difficult, we might see on Lamania that we need to tweak it up, or see when it goes live that, it's not as difficult as maybe we had hoped, which is sometimes a bummer, but, it's to be expected. Players are constantly surprising us with what they're able to do.
I have to assume, though, the expectation is that raids are going to get they're going to get completed on the first day.
Well,
Right?
it also,
In most cases, yeah.
it also depends. Like, not every raid is meant to be the same challenge level.
Right.
Like, there's a difference between a musical raid and a Too Hot to Handle. Like, Too Hot to Handle was specifically meant to be like the Uber challenge that we see how far we can push players, and this musical raid was meant to be, accessible to people who aren't hardcore people, and then we have some extra challenge by adding in some optionals that you can avoid if you want them. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it doesn't
sorry, I
hurt
had
your
to step out,
feelings.
but I'm back, and
It
sounds like
doesn't.
you guys pretty much fielded this question. But I will say that it often, when we make the decision, it often ties into how much of the story we feel is intertwined from the original pack. Like, if we feel there's a lot of story content, we'll try to make the raid a little bit more inclusive, or not throw a hard ball. And if this is just like a really nasty monster that is kind of like in a dark cave somewhere, like, we might throw a hard ball instead.
But you don't approach it like, say, a dungeon master might approach a particularly challenging encounter that they have their party. You're not sitting there going, haha, now I'm going to kill the players, right? Or do you have that thought in your head sometimes?
I mean, I personally I personally am a challenge advocate. I feel that victories that are earned and hard earned, like, the harder it is, the sweeter it is. But that's a particular, it's a perspective thing, and it's variable, and there's so much context in the situation that it can really depend. But I think what's important is that we actually have varied experiences. Like, Too Hot to Handle was, like, not the raid for a lot of people, but I think it was important that we did it because it just kind of made everyone appreciate, like, the distinction between, like, hard raids and easy raids more. Like, it just, it's not like they're all the same. It's like every now and then one of these is like, and, you talk about that raid. It starts conversation. Like, we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So, it's just good to vary it. And, you sort of, depending on the context of the situation, you make a call and you try to build it for what you're trying to do at the time, and it is different from year to year, project to project, update to update.
So we have announced, we haven't said anything about it, but we have announced that we do plan to do another raid this year. Anyone know who's working on that, or have we even gotten that far?
That's going to be planned to be Kooky Kobold's first raid. He's going to get ramped up on how to do those, and we're hoping to see what he can do.
Nice. All right, I want a quick mention. I see a Linabil in our Discord here. I don't think I've seen you until just recent minutes, so welcome. Thanks for being here.
Oh, hello. It's good to be here. How's everybody doing?
Good. We were just talking about the raid, and as a designer, do you want to kill players?
I think an important nuanced take here is that as a designer, it's always incredibly easy for us just to kill you all very, very, very easily. Like, it actually takes more work on our end to give you a challenge. That's what we want, a challenge. We could just add a whole bunch of zeros to all those stats and you'd never be able to beat it. But that's not what we want.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah. So how do you do that then? That's the trick. That's the secret sauce, as it were, huh?
I mean, I've never made content beyond a big slide, and I don't really think I am qualified to answer that question. But I would say the important thing, like psychologically, is to say that like you have to give the players a chance to think that they're outsmarting us. You know, like they have to win in that case. But again, I've only done the slide, and the slide didn't really have anything in it that was statted or moved or a boss. So
if you were going to take the Snow Peaks slide, the Snow Peaks Festival slide, and make it as difficult as Too Hot to Handle, what would you do?
oh, easy. You have to go up the slide, and there's not actually a slide there. So if you have access to admin commands, you can simply fly up there. You can just turn on the no clip and you go up there. But if you don't, very difficult. Almost impossible, one would say.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
I would
that'll
make it
do
so
it.
it's just the slide, except that while you're sliding down, you're gradually turning to ice.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways we could take it. I think it's really interesting to approach like our winter events have historically not been combat related, like they've all been dexterity based or participation based. And so, if you wanted to increase the difficulty on the Snow Peaks, like I know I don't want to commit here, but our plan was to eventually add more challenges, a la the Night Revels, so you have an option of dexterity challenges with the harder ones giving you more rewards. And so there's a variety of ways we can make players like jump over things or climb up things. There's a lot of different slidey things we can do that would really challenge people, even who are masters of our very unique physics system. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that is something we'd love to expand in the future. And the idea of doing a slide that offers a challenge is not actually unheard of at all. It seems fairly likely that that might happen someday.
Yeah, I mean, we've thought of the current slide in Snow Peaks as just a quick, fun delivery method for lots of rewards. Instead of just giving you a bunch of rewards on a Yahtzee roll when you kill one of the Snow Peaks champions, the current slide is like a nice, cool reward that gives you a bunch of ingredients and happens to be a fun slide. It's not really meant to test you.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to challenge in general and figuring out what makes it challenging, but also interesting and good gameplay, you know, there's a wide variety of things we can do as challenge. Not every player likes every kind of those. One of the things I tried to do in Temple of the Deathworm is give you in the rooms between floors, give 6 different kind of challenges in there that are different from each other. And at each juncture, one is kind of randomly closed off to you, but you still have the option of 2 different kinds of challenge that you and your party could take up. You could even split up and do both of them depending on what you actually wanted to do. But there's things like combat, there's things like jumping, there's things like puzzles. So there's a wide variety of what can constitute challenge, and a wide variety of players who all like different things.
Yeah. And that
also
concept
something-
has changed over time quite a
sorry.
bit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Artemis.
Oh, I'm sorry. We both had an idea to talk at the same time. That happens a lot over voice calls. I will say that's a nice insider look at daily meetings when you're not face to face. But I was gonna say that it also is kind of a challenge on our end to make things challenging sometimes. We talk a lot about how when you've spent a lot of time developing something on your own, you know the ins and outs of how it's supposed to work, and you unintentionally develop blind spots. So when you put your work in front of other designers and other players, it could be that everything worked great in your head, but then you just forgot to translate that in a way that people other than you understand. So that's also kind of a big part of our process, is putting our work in front of each other and getting critiques, and the public previews also help a lot with gathering that sort of information.
Yeah, that's what Lomani is for. And DDO has special challenges because of its very nature, because it's based on 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons. There are so many different build options that it's, particularly things like raids, it's very hard to figure out every possible combination of players that's playing it. In some MMOs, you can basically write down an equation that says this is how much DPS the players are doing, and have that apply and know exactly how challenging your raid is. But in our game, because there are so many different wrinkles, you don't necessarily have that certainty, and players will surprise you.
Nice. All right, I'm going to get off Galanda here before I cause too many more problems.
Jerry, I sent you a file.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah,
It's
we
in
actually have a
Teams.
couple of things here. All right, sure, no problem. Let me get to that. I actually do have a couple of pieces that I'm saving for, sometime during the broadcast here today, which is that we have some music tracks from the raid, both the win and lose. And we did debut our raid teaser here today on YouTube as well, so we'll probably, during a break or something, play that for you. Let me see what I got. Ooh. Okay. All right, that'll be for the next world, which is not going to be Galando. All right. So I don't know. What would the chat like us to talk about? I'm going alphabetically through the worlds. That's all there is to it. Easiest way to get it done. Someone is saying the next raid should be not a one-room raid. The Feywild raid takes place in an enclosed space. It still is a lot of work, though, to put those one-room raids together. But have you given any thought about when we might have not something like that?
I mean, there's a certain amount of, what do you mean by one room?
Yeah, I know, right?
We could put doors into the Feywild raid, and then it would be multiple rooms. But I suspect they're talking about something like Temple of the Deathworm with,
Yeah.
multiple different.
Temple of the Deathworm took, I think, by my estimation, 5 designers, a considerable amount of time to put together. I was kind of orchestrating it, but I had 2 or 3 other designers working on some of the rooms, and one other one that was helping me with the last battle. So it's that kind of thing isn't always, but can be a lot more work than some of the one-room raids. And so we'd kind of have to gauge resources on that.
So there's a scope versus quantity thing going on there,
Right.
where it's like, well, we can say we're going to make you Temple of the Deathworm or the Shroud, but then you might get a third as many raids.
Yeah.
I mean, I for one like to do the change up. So like, maybe we'll do something like that. Coming down the line. We also might revisit the Tempest Spine format, which we only did once practically. But there's lots of options.
I was going to say, I was going to crack a joke about some of the other, joke ideas we've had over the years that we might want to do, but now I don't want to say them, because what if we ever actually end up doing them, right?
Well, you can say them. We'll do them regardless.
Well, I'm thinking about the one room that's just a chest kind of a thing. We've joked about that one a little bit, and a few others.
If I had to make a deadly encounter, a 10 by 10 room is where I'd start, because there's nowhere to run.
Nice.
There's a question in chat about bow stuff. Can we talk about that yet?
We haven't talked about bow stuff. That's a great time. Yeah, that sounds great. So what's up with bows? What are we doing?
Oh wow, we're doing a lot. Let me pull up my page to make sure I don't miss anything.
Don't forget the bow from 2012 that we found. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
That.
So yeah, we're doing a lot to kind of brings bows up to speed. So for a long time, longbows and shortbows have kind of fallen behind the curve of a lot of our other combat styles. They still have a great advantage in that they're ranged and they can fire away from the target. And at certain levels, they hold up pretty all right, but not at others. So there's a couple of different things that we're doing to help address that. First off, we're redoing the combat styles animations entirely. So all characters that use bows are going to have different base firing animations. Part of the reason we're doing this is a combination of factors in terms of the current animation's length. It's very, very long. And how we handle speed on the engine side means that we're speeding up a very slow animation by a lot, and that's running into issues where when it gets high enough, some of your attack speed modifiers are ignored entirely in game.
Oh wow.
So to fix that, we have new animations that are faster that we don't have to speed up just to make you hit the baseline. And on the flip side, they also look cool. So it'll be a nice fresh coat of paint for anybody that's using a bow. Beyond that, we want to work on balance. We kind of have two goals with that. We don't really want you firing projectiles faster at endgame because more projectiles is kind of bad for performance. But we do want to make endgame bow builds stronger. On the other hand, bows at very low levels fire extremely slowly, and we can afford to speed that up a little bit. So you're going to see speed increases in terms of firing speed at low levels, but you won't be gaining quite as much attack speed as you level, which means toward the end game, you'll be firing at about the same rate you do now, and then we'll be doing other buffs in epics and toward end game that will help you get a lot more increased damage.
Okay, that's really interesting because so right now range has over the years sometimes been really, really good and sometimes quite a bit less than good. And when it's really, really good, it usually has to do with burst damage as opposed to non-burst damage, just kind of regular rate of fire stuff. How are you going to preserve the kind of now I make everything die mechanic that is attractive to some of our ranged users while still kind of achieving our goals that we need to do here?
So one of the other things we're looking into is part of the reason we've had trouble balancing bow damage in the past is more or less the over-reliance on many shot. Many shot currently is such a large percentage of your overall DPS that if we brought the baseline of bows up, your many shot bursted damage would be through the roof. So some of the things that we're doing in here, and I don't really want to commit to specifics yet because it's still in the works, is looking at what it would be like to take a lot of that DPS and redistribute it through all of your shots, and then also making sure that you have things you can hit for that quick burst of damage.
Nice. For those who are curious, I am on Kyber, and yes, there is a gigantic chipmunk.
Which just murdered the first person it saw.
Oh.
Speaking of being happy when you see people die, no, I'm kidding. But
So-
that was pretty amusing.
Yeah. It's bad news. It's a lot worse than that dragon you were using. Though I don't think it's going to aggro much on people unless they poke it.
That's
So-
good. Though. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I thought it might be a very interesting creature in this scenario. So I'm like, who's going to poke
And
the bird
perfectly
with the hook?
timely. So,
I
for
think
those who haven't run the raid, they have to deal with gigantic chipmunks?
Yeah, that's one of the optionals. Let's see what this happens to this guy. There's like a latency on the Discord. Oh, is he?
Yeah, there is. There's probably going to be about 20, 30 seconds, actually, between what you see on Twitch and when we do
sadly.
it live.
I think he's trying to go find an acorn or something from, as in there's some raid logic that didn't carry
okay.
over.
Bummer.
He when he attacked me right off the bat, I thought he was good, but yeah.
Yeah, bummer. All right. Well, hey, that's fine too, though. We can have a gigantic chipmunk people can attack, even if it can't die at the moment. All right, so we were talking a little bit about kind of bow balance, burst versus regular, and the goal is, you're right, I mean, anyone who's used a bow, say, under level 6, it's like, it is a little on the slow side, right? So
Right.
how's that going to feel? It's going to feel more like what it is at level 30, or what?
In terms of the low-level gameplay?
Yeah, in terms of attack speed in particular.
Oh, sure. So one of the things about current bows on live is that you have an amount of attack speed that you gain as you level up, sort of related to your base attack bonus. It's not really displayed anywhere in game. It's just sort of used as the baseline progression as you level, as well as a balancing factor on our end where we can speed things up or slow things down as needed. Currently, bows gain way more attack speed between, level 1 and cap than other combat styles. So we're more or less just bringing that baseline where you start at level 1 up, and then not having you go as far from there to cap in terms of the amount of attack speed you're gaining per level. So that you land in right about the same place.
So, MMO combat arguments 101 is that the thing about if you make ranged too powerful is then you remove melee as a very compelling option, because if you can do as much damage as melee but not get hit, it's generally better than doing lots of damage but still being able to get hit. So how do you approach that fundamental philosophy issue?
So I definitely agree with that. You don't want necessarily, now granted, like DDO is a large pile of your mileage on builds will vary, but generally speaking, you don't want your range characters doing quite as much damage as your melees, who need to be in the bulk of things fighting. They need to deal more damage. They're taking on more risk. However, especially if you're looking at bows at endgame versus other builds, longbow and shortbow builds tend to be, in terms of their DPS, a very long way behind melees, and do also trail behind crossbow builds. So if we can get them close at endgame to what crossbow builds are doing on average, again, it's DDO, your mileage is going to vary by build and equipment, but if we can get them into the ballpark of what crossbows are doing, then we have them in a pretty good place where if we need to move crossbows and bows up and down, we can do that, but they'll be close to each other.
So I imagine the core of it is people are going to be seeing bigger numbers to start, right? Like bigger numbers on your
somebody
on
in
your
chat
damage?
is asking if we're making abilities like Shot in the Run and the 10% attack speed in Deepwood Stalker useless, since haste and blinding speed will effectively put it at cap. No, that's exactly the problem we're trying to solve. Right now, you're not getting a lot of that because you're hitting the animation cap in the engine, and when we fix these animations, all of the attack speed bonuses you are getting in game are going to apply. We're just trying to make sure that after all that's said and done, you're not super far ahead of what you're able to do right now.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that's the exact opposite of what we were doing, but yes, making it so that those actually do something is our goal here. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, right now you can gain a lot of attack speed bonuses, but a lot of them won't do anything because you're hitting this cap that the game doesn't really tell you about because it's there as a precaution, and we never really should be hitting it on player attacks in the first place. We're solving that technical issue. The bonuses you get will apply, but the sort of standards of where you're starting and ending unmodified are changing a bit in terms of balance.
Right. And this is coming for roughly when?
I believe this is currently targeted for update 49. You should be seeing it on Lamania pretty soon.
Yeah, we're aiming for the spring for update 49, which is intended to include the bow revamp.
All right. Sounds good. I don't know. What else have you... Anyone seen anything in chat you want to talk about?
I can talk about the Mat UI.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. And I can actually throw those pics up again.
So I've been on the team for a while and always wanted to learn how to make UI stuff. And it took approximately 4 months and 3 people. But it is an actual new inventory tab that will turn your mounts into, internally they're called marker images. Basically they're like fake things you can put in your hotbar, like cosmetic pets. And then you can just summon them right up from your hotbar, and it'll hold all your mounts, and you get to see them in a cool inventory pane. And
it feels like it's using...
I'm really proud of myself.
It feels like it's using the creature companion system, is it?
Yes. It's at its start, it started as a direct copy, like a really dirty, like it was still labeled cosmetic pets. But over time, what was interesting is that the cosmetic pet UI is actually a great deal more complicated behind the scenes because it has to handle things like tricks or gear. The actual little place where your pet will spawn, like the little like view area, is actually an entire other camera called a viewport that I did not have to replicate. That's just a like the focus orb image over again for the matte UI. Because it's a great deal more complicated to just get an entire 3D mount to show up in that tiny space when we already have really nice high-res pictures, and if you want to look at a mount, you can simply just summon it.
Speaking of really nice pictures,
yeah, I'm really happy about it. I think people are really, really gonna like it. I think it's gonna be a really good improvement, and I can't wait for people to, collect all the cool mounts. And
yeah. I was going to say, I think it... Actually, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. I would literally... I suffered a lag spike in real life. What the heck just happened?
Some of those mounts are placeholder.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, speaking of cool-looking stuff, cool-looking stuff, all that stuff is fake.
I basically went through for this test and was like, everything that could possibly amount, we're going to add it to the window so I can figure out if the scroll bar works. And the scroll bar worked, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Let me take some screenshots. And everyone was like, what's that fire horse? Where's the fire horse coming out? What's going on with that? And nope, that is just a thing I found in order to make sure that there were more than one mount that could go into it, rather than just making one mount several times.
Not that we aren't listening to your feedback.
Yeah. That is not the Huntsman Steed from Witch Hunt. That is a different unreleased fire mount.
Yeah. Well, don't read too much into the icons, frankly, because there's placeholder stuff. Yeah.
It was mostly meant to showcase the fact that just like the cosmetic pet UI, over time, as you fill out a scroll bar, like a scroll little button up and down will appear. That's it. I could also talk about cool monk stuff. I don't know. That's not on any schedule whatsoever, but I like the monk class.
Yeah, do we actually have some thoughts of doing it, let's say, in 2021 here?
Absolutely. I really, really, really want to do that. I actually put out a very comprehensive pass to the Players' Council, but I got sidetracked by making an all-winter event instead. Yeah, so the monk class is really, really fun to DDO. People like it, and what's funny about monk as a whole is that its coolness factor is off the charts. So whether or not monk is viable, people want to play monk. Like, monk is just really cool. Monk is awesome. Everyone likes it. The problem is that monk is really, really clunky in some areas, and that there's some parts that really work, and there's some parts that maybe don't work so much. So the core of the pass that I really want to do is kind of a deconstruction of monk at basically every single possible level. For example, there's a really cool combo system in our game that I think is an excellent, great idea to which to balance the entire class around. The weird part is that if you get cool attacks in the other trees, those are just regular punches. Those are cool other punches that everyone likes, but they're kind of unrelated to the combo system. And so my plan kind of started with the idea of, everyone likes Tomb of Jade. Everyone likes Kukan Do. Everyone really wants Water Walking back. And right now, people don't really use the combo system beyond a few really high-impact builders and a few very bizarrely scaling spenders. So what if we could look at all the monk trees and say, Tomb of Jade, that's really cool. Everyone likes it. What if it were just a finishing move? That was an Earth finishing move, was Tomb of Jade. Just, we take it out of the tree and put it in the finishing move. What if, rather than giving you unrelated punches in the trees, those 3 monk trees would unlock new finishing moves? What if we could kind of bring the class all the way around again? We can examine what makes monk really fun, and then from the ground up, see if we can put together a monk using all we've learned in the intervening 10 years. Because it's been a while since that class was put together, and I think we've learned a lot about, what abilities seem fun to use, and how to possibly maybe put water walking back, because sometimes water walking is really cool. Although I am unconvinced I'll be able to fix the problem that it will drown you occasionally. So just as a heads up, water walking will still likely drown you. But other than that, I think it's a really good plan. But yeah,
I think it's worth mentioning that this is not committed for 2021 and is not on a schedule at all. This is a thing we want to do, but
yeah,
we
no,
don't
this is
necessarily have plans for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. So we should. It's been an hour and a half, but for those of you who have just joined us, maybe in recent minutes, this is a hangout by some members of the Dungeons and Dragons online team. I'm the community manager for DDO Cordovan, and we're going until 8 o'clock tonight. Not this whole group, but me personally. I imagine a lot of the folks are going to head out around dinner time here because you have other things you have to do today. For example, but you're welcome to stay as long as you'd like. And we're just doing some general Q&A and hangout stuff, so we're talking a little more casual than you might see in a producer's letter and that sort of thing. So at this point, it's a great time to commit Linabel to projects at least through 2028.
And that wasn't me saying,
Yep.
like, throwing water on the thing saying it won't happen. I just saw some people going, oh, monk stuff in 2021. And I was like, I don't know if that'll happen.
No. 2020, we're booked for 2021. We had this internal joke about how 2021 would be the year we'd fix every single bug in Motu. And weirdly enough, we're actually doing Epic Destinies. So that actually kind of wrapped around again in a way that seems almost suspicious.
In fairness, every year is the year we fix every single bug in Motu.
But this is the most year that we're going to fix every single bug in Motu. No, I know. I'm pretty sure you all talked about Epic Destinies before, but yes, this whole month thing I'm talking about is for like way beyond where we're currently plotting out updates. We always have this big list of things that would be really nice to do that like are on like our big list of things we really want to do, and every designer has their own internal list. And mine, my number 2 thing that I really want to do is redo all of Monks.
Yes, just the normal disclaimer that we have lists of things we want to do that would probably occupy a couple of lifetimes.
Yes, it's a never-ending list. I should mention that. That is a list without a bottom.
It takes gaseous form and fills all available space.
When it comes to content, I want to do every single D&D world that exists, and that is going to, would be a project for several lifetimes.
Okay, but for, one of the things that we hear a lot about on the live streams is, hey, when you get to work on my class? And clearly class balance is one of those things that is also sort of a never-ending project here. Do we have any thoughts of what we might be able to get to in 2021? And do we have any thoughts? We know bow combat, for example, is going to have a big impact on.
We just did all the spellcasters. Right? We just it was 2 days ago. It was
we did a lot of
all the combat styles, all the spellcasting.
So you might want to talk about old stuff. No, I'm kidding. It's not old.
So, like on the system plan, we did a lot of that rebalancing that just came in this patch. We have the bow changes coming up. We have Epic Destinies. Beyond that, there might be some time for some other things toward the end of the year, but that's honestly going to take up most of this year.
The Epic Destiny stuff is going to be comprehensive. It's going to drastically change every single build at endgame. It's going to change how you level. It's going to change how you look upon builds. And so that's way more than a single class's worth of effort.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it'll really be that drastic? Do you think players will not be able to get an equivalent of what they have now?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, that's a complicated question. I think our goal is that if you are really engrossed in Epic play right now and you have a certain build that you're playing, we're not trying to leave you behind. That being said, there aren't actually that many choices in current Epic Destinies. Like, there's the winner for the melee Destiny, which is arguably Fatesinger because of the melee power and Turn of the Tide. And like, if you're ranged, you're in, Sharadi, and like
crossbow, you're in Dreadnought.
Yeah, and it's like there's not really that many things we have to kind of support, and like that's so much real estate. Like, I don't know if you all have looked at an Epic Destiny tree in a while, but like a fifth of the real estate is just stats. There's so much room in these. There's so much room to put new stuff in, to take these old abilities and these old trees that players don't have a lot of love for or just want them to be better, and just put them all together again into a way that makes sense and is cool. And like, I feel like it's going to be a huge uplift of builds that either couldn't find an Epic Destiny that worked, or just sick of playing the same Epic Destiny every single life, and
just having choices in terms of multiple viable paths for a lot of kinds of builds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can't really talk any further about our next level cap other than what Sev mentioned in the Q&A this week. I'll leave it at that. It's not happening anytime in the immediate future here, so it's going to be a little while yet. All right. Here's a long-standing question from King Cosma. Can we make the key to Evening Star have a shorter cooldown?
I mean, what if we just did it and didn't tell anybody? Like, well,
Generally speaking, my understanding is that cooldown requires specific sign-off from specific people, and until we get that, we can't change it.
Okay. So potentially in the future, it could happen.
Yeah.
My real wish that would change, that runs up into the same problem, is to simply merge the Hall of Heroes, so there's just one Hall of Heroes. That's my, even more important than the key Evening Star, big ask.
Is that a technical problem?
No.
Anyone who's looked at it's okay.
No, it's not.
It is the same thing as the key.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do it then.
That's a whole bug.
Right, our production meeting is making progress, I see. Yeah. What else?
Let's say a cool chat question about will the past ED feats, is that past life ED feats? Either way, no matter what we're doing, we're not actually changing or making Epic Destiny, like the Epic past life feats, harder to get. Even if we do a level cap, we're not changing reincarnation levels or goalposts. And even if we're like changing Epic Destinies, we're not changing Epic past lives.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be exactly the same. It'll be level 30. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yep. And we're not changing the XP. Oh, I was going to say, I think we're not, at least last I heard, we're not planning to change the XP curve from 20 to 30 either, right?
Not currently.
We could.
It's a possibility, but at the moment, no.
All right, let me pop on over quick to YouTube and Facebook as well. A lot of the same questions, but let me see what else I can come up with here. What am I drinking? I'm drinking water today. No special beverages for this guy. Just drinking water from a Pac-Man mug. There we go.
I saw a Twitch comment about the dev blog for Fate Dark Illusionist. I'm actually working on another dev blog, and of course, all of my coworkers are also welcome to write their own. I just have a lot to say about everything that I do, so it's nice to have an outlet for that. The next one that I'm writing is actually about the development and the design of the Fey Twisted mechanic and how that came to be within the Feywild expansion pack. And I'm very happy with how that came out. I think the dev blog is going to be similarly as enlightening.
I helped with that also.
Yes, you did. You did. It saved me because I didn't know how to do that thing, and you did it. I'll put a whole shout out. I'll link your Twitter into the thing.
I have a question from Facebook here about what do you see in terms of the Epic Destiny work for Warlock, which didn't even exist, of course, when Epic Destinies were first created.
I can't answer that right now, but I will say that the answer that you are going to get when we're done with it is going to be the best answer you're ever going to see in your entire life. Mark my words. It's the single greatest piece of design. I will take no further questions. That's all I have. That's it.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's cool.
It's very exciting. Be afraid, actually.
Nice.
I mean, I guess we can say that this is something we talked about with the revamp, and this is like the biggest win as far as the Epic Destiny revamp as a whole is concerned, is that one of the benefits of moving to a tree structure that uses our standard tree UI is that we can make new Epic Destinies. And we don't have anything to announce on that front, but it is no longer literally impossible. It is no longer off.
I mean, we technically can in the current system, and we did twice with Divine Crusader and Primal Avatar, but that was mostly filling out things that didn't quite make the initial release of Epic Destinies, and kind of the value add on adding each new one is not that huge, just because you can only be in one at a time, and yes, there are twists, but the system doesn't make the value of each new tree as broad as something like a heroic universal tree, which can apply to a wide variety of builds because everybody can take a little from it or a lot from it if they want to. So this system is going to have a lot more value to each tree.
Yeah, it feels like a huge improvement. Like, it feels like as we're putting this together, it just feels like it's slotting in to the UI, to the flow of DDO in a way that is very uniquely satisfying. Very happy that we get a chance to work on this. I think it'll be a gigantic step forward for DDO's Epic Play.
Nice. And that's really been on the radar for quite a long time. You know, speaking of projects that we get a lot of requests for that take a while to see fruition, that's certainly one of them.
Yeah, this has been in development for at this point like 9 months. Like,
yeah,
that's a long time.
And this is something we've been talking about and wanting to do basically since I got on the project in 2014, and it was just like impossible at that point in time, just with everything else we had going on. But it is time, and we're going to make it happen, and it's going to be great.
All right. Yes, people are correct. I am now on Orion, and you can see me in game. I'm going to do a couple of drops here. Is Kokomo Jobo the most laid back of the team? No. There's many of us who could vie for that title, but I might give it to Jason.
Yeah, Cookie Kobold, absolutely.
Corey
Absolutely.
is very high strung, actually. I think is the exact opposite of laid
I am
back.
currently laying down in a public forum, so I guess that does make me appear very laid back and is probably bad for presentation. But it's very comfy, so
Lounging, you know.
I'd be laid back about a pillow too.
I would say we're not a lot of Type A personalities in general on the DDO team, but
We have a
All right.
loudness ranking of who's physically the most loud, but other than that,
oh yeah. All right, when
I
can
have
we get a
not
duck
really
mount?
used my true voice.
Final question from Facebook here before I switch back. When are we going to get a duck mount?
Quack! Duck mount.
2029.
it's
Wait,
gonna be a while.
We're talking
Yeah.
rubber ducky, or duck?
They're not clear on it. They just say duck mount. I guess they're giving us design space.
I'm saying 2029. It's going to happen. I'm committing to it right now.
We want to make as many horses as we can, and then we'll start moving off of horses into other stuff. But we want to make a lot of horses first.
My only statement is you'll see a chipmunk mount before you see a duck mount.
Yeah, that's probably true.
With your new fancy mount UI. I'm like astounded that worked.
So
All
we
right.
have to have like a fishing pole with an acorn at the end of it while you're on the chipmunk mount.
I want us to do like
That could
a
happen.
fake horse. Like a fake horse where you have like a hobby horse and you just run. You know,
we
like a
actually
stick.
have that in the other game. I bet we.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah,
idea.
we'll probably
but,
skip that
We
one.
can just steal it, right? That's how that works. We just
No,
like,
they beat
take
they beat us
import,
too on that one.
And dang it.
All right, so Kentani, though, did you work on? I know you've done a lot of creature companion work, so it might be good to ask some questions on that if anyone has it. But did you also do mounts?
I've done some of the tech art stuff on the mounts and a little bit of the texture work, but most of that is the art department.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you had anything special you could say about making mounts versus some of the other things you make.
I've done some tech art. And
I believe Torque did all the scripting for it.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yes, Torque has his fingers in many pies.
Indeed. All right. Well, yes, 2 coconut shells. We probably need that first before we get a duck.
oh wow, absolutely! I can't believe I haven't thought of that, especially like after the anyway. Jeez, should drop in a raid for crying out loud.
All right, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff from this production meeting. First off, we're doing coconut shells, then we're doing a duck mount. Gotcha.
Seeing a lot of questions about cosmetic tab. Not to be a big wet blanket, but the reason the mount UI works is because there's only so many mounts. Unfortunately, with the way DDO does cosmetics, there isn't just a big list of cosmetics. There is a big list of cosmetics, but there's also other cosmetics that you make. And if we don't have a solution that supports our extensive mirror of glamoring system, it's not going to be viable. So it's a lot more work than just putting all the mounts in a list in a new UI.
I've been kind of knee deep in the cosmetic system for the last almost 2 days at this point. It's a a wardrobe like that possible, but it's not going to be a small task by any means.
Yeah, a singleton bag would simply destroy your items. Just so we're all on the same page, a singleton bag simply deletes your items, and then we'll recreate them.
No. We don't want to start spreading any dangerous rumors here. I mean, technically there may be some truth to that, but it's not that bad.
I say more technically, a singleton bag has a list of possible things that can go in it, and because our items that are cosmetics are not on a singular list, because you can make like custom ones, we cannot make a bag that holds all of our disparate cosmetics.
Yeah.
Wow, someone just grabbed aggro here on Orion. I didn't even know what you did.
Is that the guy from the Shroud?
Yeah, Garco.
Yeah.
Good old Garco.
I just thought I'd do a kobold. It was the first one that popped up on my screen.
Wonder if he's gonna make his ghost if he dies.
Maybe I should.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay.
That's one with
I think it's okay.
Well, hey, this is my show. Let's find out. Wouldn't be the first time, huh? No, I'm kidding. I try not to destroy servers.
You've got people in chat telling you you're not on Orion.
Oh, I'm on Sarlona. Yes. S is before O. Yes. Sorry about that. Yes. Like I said, I'm on Sarlona. And I will be on Orion. Yeah.
Oh, they're just really taking Garco into the alley and beating him.
I have not skipped Orion. I will be back to Orion.
Somebody was asking earlier about Saltmarsh, whether it is the original modules or the 5th edition book Ghosts of Saltmarsh. What we're doing is the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, the original 1st edition module, but we're also doing the sequels to that in the 1st edition, Danger at Dunwater and the Final Enemy, and then some more stuff in addition to that. But we're not doing Ghosts of Saltmarsh. You may see a few Ghosts of Saltmarsh influences here and there, particularly when it comes to names, but we're doing the original 1st edition.
Okay, so it's based on the 1st edition text. Okay, cool.
Yep.
That has really got one of the... I wonder if I can call it up in XSplit. I bet I can. That's got really one of the classic D&D covers, 1st edition D&D covers. One of many, of course, that could fit, but that Saltmarsh cover is pretty famous.
I feel like Wizards of the Coast has just been killing it with their new edition covers right now. Like, all the books that come out have fantastic art. I'm always very impressed.
And cool variants.
More often than not, when we're looking to a classic module, though, we tend to go towards the early stuff, and I feel like that's our niche in the gaming sphere of like bringing to life the classic old classic modules, and like if we're gonna do an old thing, we're gonna do the original version.
Yeah.
Right. So we tend to stick to the original versions because if we don't do them, who will?
But then I also think about like Ravenloft, right, where we deliberately sort of did the 5th edition.
Yeah. We were not necessarily married to. We try and choose the thing that's right. And because Curse of Strahd was, an entire campaign that was suitable for an expansion, and it also just happens to be an excellent book as well. So, worked out well.
Yep. So, we mentioned in the producer's letter, that we're going to have a pack in the future that will be linked to Feywild with the Wild Hunt.
Did we lose audio, or are we just
No,
having a
we're still
moment?
here.
Nope,
We're all
you haven't lost audio. You just lost me. You just lost your ability to hear me. Hang on a quick sec. All right, so there we are. So we've mentioned in the past, rather in the producer's letter, that we're going back to Feywild a little bit here with the Wild Hunt. What about going back over to Ravenloft, especially with some of the news that's in there this week? And I know this is probably more of a Sev question because it really depends on a bunch of other things. But
Right.
there's nothing really stopping us, right?
I mean, yes and no. In 5th edition, until the announcement of the book that was announced on Monday, Ravenloft consisted of Barovia, and Barovia's story was done, more or less. But that all changed on Monday when Wizards of the Coast announced that they're putting out a new Ravenloft book, which has 30 different domains of dread in it. So that offers, exciting new avenues for the future. I will say that, nobody here is planning a Ravenloft expansion right this minute because we're, as people said, we're already booked up for 2021 and pretty much 2022 as well. But beyond that, who knows? I never thought we'd do Ravenloft when I originally started working on DDO back in 2009 or 2008, and yeah, we've done it. So stay tuned.
As it turns out, when you work on a project that goes on forever and will never end, eventually you get to everything that you think is a pipe dream and will never happen.
Right? I remember, when cloaks, never gonna get cloaks, never gonna happen.
I remember when we were never going to get druids.
Yeah,
I remember,
or gnomes.
back in 2006, people would be like, wouldn't it be cool if they could ever do a classic module? I don't know, like a Haunted Halls of Evening Star or something. And, that seemed like a pipe dream at one point too, right?
Yeah, the Forgotten Realms was a pipe dream when I started also.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty much pipe dream to pipe dream if you're following.
Yeah, basically everything that the team currently thinks we're not going to get to 5 years from now, we'll be like, yeah, we did that thing. At one point, we thought we would never get to that. So on the 20th anniversary stream, we're going to be talking about all the things currently that we're saying we'll never get to that, like that we already did.
It's crazy that after 20 years, we did 17 Ravenloft expansions in a row just to get
Wow.
the majority of the Planes of Dread that they released. Like, that's the real.
Man, did Anarok turn out good.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
Anarok.
Anarok. Coming 2014.
Anarok.
Can Frodo and Gandalf come to Eberron? And the answer is no, but Wizards of the Coast also just announced crossovers between Magic the Gathering and both Lord of the Rings and Warhammer, so who knows?
Who knows?
I think Warhammer 40k would be a fantastic crossover with Dungeons and Dragons.
It's Warhammer Fantasy, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's 40k. It's
40K.
definitely 40k.
Okay, never mind.
So wait, we can have the warg, or how do I pronounce it? What does the orc say?
Nice. All right, I need
No,
to head off,
Corey,
Solo.
I like you. Was like, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy. That makes a lot of sense. But nope, it's the ships, the big ships in the war.
Noted.
I think that would also work very well with DDO. So
We had a busy week, so I haven't been paying attention to the non-DDO news.
Games Workshop, if you're listening to us, please call us. Like, we will do it justice.
Let's see.
Actually, I want to know, because Kodog is here, if he's actually in audio. You worked on this project a long time ago and did some deep dive stuff. What did you think we would never have that we currently have now that you're back on the project?
Holy smokes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Yep.
Okay, good. I remember being told in 2004 there would be no pets
Oh,
at all.
Yeah.
There would be no pets. There would be no PvP.
Yeah.
We were assured by Ken Troop, the design lead, of all kinds of things that we were not ever going to have. We weren't going to have a repeating crossbow, but that got snuck in right before the
Nice.
like 2 weeks before we shipped. Amazing stuff like that. Oh gosh, I can't even begin. We were only going to have so many races, and since I've been back on the project, it's made me so happy to see all the different races, all the different classes. We shipped, I think, with just 6 classes, and just seeing all the variety that's there and all the content. Keep on the Borderlands. I argued for Keep on the Borderlands to be like the in the game, and of course we shipped with Eberron, so I never thought we would ever see a non-brown dungeon. I'm tickled pink with where we're at right now.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that brown dungeon thing, but that that was a deliberate design choice at the time to sort of differentiate DDO from some of the more cartoony, I guess would be the colloquial words that were thrown around at the time, MMOs that existed that had more bright, fantastical colors. DDO was trying to deliberately be more grounded at the time, right?
Oh yeah. You know, like Stacy Longstreet was the Wizard of the Coast artist that was in charge of kind of the vision for color schemes and things like that, and she envisioned the world as a very gritty place. You know, Eberron and Stormreach, you know, it's a harbor town. It's supposed to be gritty and brown, and so that's what happens.
So what I've always imagined is that Stormreach used to have a really bad smog problem. And in recent years, thanks to the efforts of the Corn Lords, like they've managed to clean things up, and it's gotten a little bit brighter. It has literally gotten brighter. You know, we've gone and done a pass to make like the sky bluer and so on in Stormreach.
Yeah, we keep finding brown layers in the renderer. Like we keep finding layers of like overlays and stuff that are just set to beige, and we get rid of them, and the game gets brighter and happier. It's very nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say color was my pipe dream in 2005 for this game.
So can we talk about the thing that nobody wanted to talk about in 2006? The fact that Dungeons and Dragons shipped without dragons?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
oh my God, we had a Penny Arcade on us. I remember that. Like, God, yeah, they were like, so Mod 1, they were working on Villa, basically. Like, I think they were actually working on Villa before that that Penny Arcade came out. But, you know, like,
they were working on Villa before the game went to Gold Master. It just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Kobolds. I remember hearing that on the forums and cringing.
Yeah.
But, we got lots of dragons.
You know, but especially at that point in time, getting it out the door is an accomplishment in some ways.
I remember somewhere around 2015, I had put together a bar graph representing the number of dragons we released per year of the project.
That's great.
I don't know where it is anymore. I wish I still had it.
We should get that updated.
Just like number of dragons added in content in each individual year.
First it was Vela, then there were the giant old babies, which and then like did we not get one until we got the Korthos?
Korthos, and then after
Stealer Soul. No, we didn't. Well, we had dragons like as a visual thing in Stealer Soul, so you didn't actually fight one. So I'm not sure if that counts.
Yeah, but then Motu is when we started getting like the modern kind of dragons we have now, and we've done a lot since then.
Oh, they're
the problem
so much
we
better.
didn't have a good way of doing dragons until Motu. We had
the Dragon Kit, we called it.
Yep.
Right. That was actually an initiative to like get us up to speed and allow us to do any type of dragon as opposed to having each dragon be a special snowflake.
Right, which let us do, you know, your green dragons, which we never had before, some better looking red ones. We were able to do, you know, the Fire on Thunder Peak, the 2 red dragons, and have them look very different. Those 2 were out of one of the, I think, the Forgotten Realms Draconomicon in 3.5. Algoroasa did the Truthful one. Like, we did so many dragons in the couple of years right after that.
So we're getting close to Tiamat then, right? Like we're almost there?
No, not yet.
I don't think so. I mean, that would be
my big goal is to try to get all the metallic dragons in at some point. Since we've only got the silver so far.
Yeah, that seems more likely than Tiamat.
Tiamat,
Tiamat would be a particular challenge to bring into a video game space. I mean, it's a character that is so kind of iconic in D&D that it's fairly carefully guarded, as I understand it.
I think we could do Tiamat badly.
Yeah,
like, a lot of games have done it. I just don't want to do it bad.
Hey, ye of little faith.
And
I
it's
have
a
no-
raid where Tiamat gets her heads stuck in a honey tree, and you fight them one at a time.
Nice.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Tiamat loves
There's a few ways
basketball.
to skin that cat. I'll let you know.
Mostly
Yeah.
invisible Tiamat.
I don't doubt that we could do Tiamat, but the question has always been, what do we give up if we want to do Tiamat versus something else?
Right.
So, like, if we could instead do Strahd and a bunch of other stuff instead of Tiamat, wouldn't we rather do Strahd? And that's been the answer we've always given.
But as we've said, the things we never think will happen will eventually happen because
They'll
the project continues on forever.
Yeah, and it was 20th anniversary. We're gonna be like, yeah, that Tiamat raid really went really well. You play as Tiamat, which was a real change from the norm.
So I think this might be a good question, maybe for Knockback here. Someone's asking over on YouTube, what maybe a little bit more what we mean by an Indiana Jones-like quest coming in 2021. We don't want to do too spoilery, but how do you envision that meaning thematically?
Well, so it's going to be a set of quests about going off to find artifacts in, some of which are in Indiana Jones style locations. Think of the first 10 minutes of Indiana Jones. And people who are paying attention will be like, well, that sounds familiar. That sounds like something we did kind of sort of recently. And the answer is you're right. Because it's a continuation of that. We're following up on a story that we started.
The Promise of Fire, I believe, is what you're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to be subtle.
Sorry.
But yes, Promise of Fire, and also Tower of Frost, as well.
I'm really excited because I get to bring back a crafting system that no one's ever heard of. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be great.
I don't think I know what you're talking about there, Linabelle.
I'll give you a hint. It's actually not Seal Scroll Shard. It's one of the other ones. So of that list of like 89, it's one of those.
Interesting. All right.
I'm just really happy that we got to sneak in the Warlock aura colors into this update. Like, looking back over this patch notes, it's like the one thing I was like the most relieved made it. Like, that art got back to me months ago, and I've just been trying to find time to hook that up, and I'm just really happy it got in there.
So Alona filled up real quickly. I'm a little afraid I'm going to have to be out of here real quick. I'm not trying to be sort of, pop into a world and then just disappear as soon as people show up, but the reality is once a certain number of people show up, then I need to be out of there kind of a thing, right? Oh, hey, Sorlona's handling it all right at the moment. I know, as I see a lag spike.
Watching this makes me think I need to build a bunch of level 32 dragons that you can use for these sort of things.
I have back in the office a list of some safe monsters, but it's kind of old and outdated, and so I just mostly try not to do anything too crazy and nothing from a raid, pretty much.
There's some Dragonborn pack dragons that are probably a little more current, but depending on what you want.
Yeah.
What I really miss from the office is a whiteboard. Like, having a whiteboard. I'm actually thinking of buying one.
You don't have like 9 whiteboards in your house?
No, I have
I
no
do.
whiteboard.
Like, I have a whiteboard that Turbine was getting rid of at one point and was just going to trash, and now it's in my house, and it's great.
I have 2 whiteboards in my house, and I don't have any erasers for them.
They're like
All
stone
right.
tablets, effectively.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can keep talking about monks. I have a lot to say. We're going to rebalance key or make key at range. Stay tuned for 2029 when we redo monks. It'll happen.
I could talk about fixing Warforged and Bladeforged appearances. I'm
Do
almost
it! Go! Go,
That's
Steel Star!
better.
Go!
That's
do it.
great.
All right. Tell us about Warforged underwear.
So there's many things like I think we've said publicly, like there were some adjustments on the back end to how appearances are handled. That was mostly driven by the art side of things. But the art side of things moved a couple of pieces around in terms of how docents store their information and grab their information. And one of those changes was not accounted for in code. And a couple other ones I think maybe weren't introduced with this, but may have been standing around for a long time, have issues in terms of displaying the right colors on a regular piece of equipment versus a cosmetic. They're looking at two different maps of colors. So even though the number it's pulling from is the same, it's looking at the space in the wrong list.
Okay.
So I'm going through and making sure that no matter if it's something like one of the things you got from a collector's edition of one of our expansions, or it's a glamour docent, that you're seeing the textures and gear sets and colors that you think you're supposed to, and that when you do glamour things, that what you saw is what you end up with. Now, this is further complicated by the fact that Warforged have body feats, and a lot of our like named items these days, and a lot of our things from expansion packs don't have different appearances for Warforged body feats, but our loot gen really still does. And there were a couple of cases where if you're wearing kind of the right combination of things, you would be seeing the composite body version of the piece of equipment, and even though you had adamantine body, and if you flickered the paper doll on your character sheet to turn cosmetics on and off, you would suddenly start seeing the right one. So I'm also making sure that when you equip docents that have multiple gear sets, depending on your body feats, that you are seeing the correct gear set for that.
All right.
So TLDR, Warforged docents cosmetics not in a great state, and Steel starts working on it.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a whole bunch of fixes for this patch, actually.
That fix is likely not for this first patch, just to be clear.
Still could be. I'm actually closer than I thought I was going to be a couple hours ago.
Oh, great. Good.
Yeah, there's some other stuff. A lot of Alchemist bug fixes that just barely didn't make the cut for this last big patch that we wanted to get in. Turns out offhand versatility doesn't work if you have a hand and a half weapon, but it does work if you don't have a hand and a half weapon. Whole bunch of minor stuff like that. Oh, and the missing dice from the Eldritch Blast Epic Feat also.
Okay, I like this Facebook question. Can we get cosmetic shoes?
No.
Yeah,
That's-
I don't think so.
I guess it's a Kentani question, actually.
The short answer is no.
Yeah.
The longer
I think
answer
there's a
is-
way of doing
is-
it, but it's a terrible way, and we shouldn't do it.
No, we couldn't anyway because we couldn't guarantee how it would interact with the other jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Okay.
The long answer is we could theoretically do it, but it would require us to change every existing armor and appearance in the game.
So no pant bugs galore, pretty much.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
it would be the decade of no pants.
Yeah.
I
I'm
will
seeing
point
some
out that would
requests.
also not be true to third edition.
Oh yeah.
Well, in third edition, you just had armor, right? So, the concept of shoes is a separate thing. Didn't really quite exist.
I mean, we do give you shoes, though, like that are a separate
They're
inventory slot. Already.
So,
Well, right, they're boots. Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying, Cordo?
I don't know what I was saying at this point.
Great.
I probably need to head off. I'm on Orion now. And then, unfortunately, the crowds are showing up a little big in to the point that it's a little hard to get started here. So I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to be able to do. I think what we're going to do kind of after about the midpoint here on the show, I'm going to take a little break, and then I'm going to do some more gameplay, that kind of thing, rather than just pop onto the worlds all evening and cause issues for the worlds. But I don't want to make people think like I don't enjoy going to your worlds. I just tend to cause lots of problems when I do it live on the air like this. But then again, people know that I'm kind of okay with some of that. It's my one chance to ruin your day. No, I'm kidding.
Are you? All right. Well, I'm actually gonna go make some dinner. Thank you for having me on your cool show. Stay tuned for that Mount UI, I guess, and Duck Mountain 2029. We're committing to it.
Rubber Duck Mount.
I'll commit to anything for 2029.
Yeah, really.
In 2028, I'm going to look at you and say, all right, get to work. Make that Duck Mount. No one's helping you.
Sometime last year, we scheduled a meeting for several years in the future to prevent a problem that will happen if we don't fix it.
Oh, right.
I remember that. What was that?
It's like the meeting to ensure that 32-bit systems don't die when the date.
Right.
Right. No. Yeah. We have a meeting set a year before that's supposed to happen, so that we have a handle on fixing it in that year before it happens.
We should do more of those. Those actually really work. I got this meeting coming up. What is it? Oh,
We scheduled it like 6 years ago.
Nice. All right, this actually makes for a pretty good midpoint break since we're just over the 2-hour mark here. So I'm actually going to put on a load screen here for a second, put on some raid music. We're going to be playing 2 tracks here while I take a break. One is the winning version of the raid song. One is the losing version of the raid song. Both of these were put together by Bill Champagne. I should note that the raid itself doesn't have a raw track, so he had to do a little bit of kind of trickery to make this all work. So what you hear in these audio files may be a little different than what you hear in the raid, but this is a version he was able to put together to give a complete version of the song, which means essentially 2 complete versions of the song, one if you win and one if you lose. So before I do that, let me just pop back into Discord visually here on the live stream so I can wish everyone here a happy 15th anniversary. And thank you very much for hanging out with me for a couple hours here for this first half of the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'll see you all the 20th anniversary.
Nice. All right, well, I'm going to take a break then. I'll be back in about 12 minutes after the music's done, and we're going to do some chat giveaways. We haven't had time to do that yet, so we're going to be hanging out in Twitch chat, in particular doing some points giveaways and other cool things. So until then, I'll see you all in a little bit.
See you.
Well, like any true hero, I won't be told what's best for my home.
so I was going to break for dinner, which I assume a lot of you.
Save the day.
All right, sorry folks, real quick, I had an audio issue there. You heard it, so I need to take care of that. So I'm just going to restart the song here then and call it there. Sorry about that. See you in a little bit.
Not the hawthorn I once adored. Ooh, such a fire within those branches. And like any true hero, I won't be told what's best for my home. Yes, I will be bold to strike down any villain who stands in my way. My song will save the day. Let's begin this final act where I show you it's doubtless fact that tearing down the Ladrin walls will usher freedom for us all. Nature's beauty and its truth, of course, informed by my worldview. You'll see those pesky elves can't stay. I will reshape our realm today. But what would you know of the truth? Your love that withered like your root. Your fear how much my power grew. That's the core of our dispute.
For centuries, you haven't changed, although I wish you would. For all the power you have gained that you won't use for good. You think I left for fear of truth? Sorry, I disagree. My reason was you've always loved yourself and never me. Enough of squabbles of the past. I will not take your bait. I'll keep that portal tethered shut. Defeat will be your fate.
Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow.
The only thing you've ever known is how to boast, complain, and moan. When this ends, you'll be alone, pouting on your broken throne.
Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow. Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow. Lamanias and Dryden lands offered me the perfect plan, a wondrous opportunity to crush a Ladrin royalty.
But who are you to decide who in this realm survives? You think because you're an archfey that we will let them die?
Look at you, what you've become. They have you trapped under their thumb, twisted you with all their lives. Their palaces corrupt our skies. Your bitterness pollutes your leaves. You were never truly free. You never stray far from your tree. Admit it, you wish you were me.
You never listen, never learn, despite how long it's been. Though I feel nothing torture now, my bark was never thin. I met the Fae of the Windwood, I've known them as you never could, and through it all, for bad or good, every challenge we've withstood.
Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow.
The only thing you've ever known is how to boast, complain, and moan. When this ends, you'll be alone, pouting on your broken throne.
Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow. Mo's and Ladrin have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow. I can't say that, I'm sorry, seeing you knocked to the ground. I knew that this would happen in this battle fought with sound. What shall our great heroes do as you face certain doom? Will they grovel at my feet or stand defiant through and through? You claim I'm the villain, well, you crave a villain, have a taste! Being struck down by the king has always been your fate. There is only one way that this fable will be told. If you insist on fighting me, soon you'll learn your role.
You tried your best to down me, but darling, did you know that you could never fool me? You're not a hero! And now that you've been dealt your due, you'll see what always has been true. I have never, we have never, ever needed you!
Those branches. Like any true hero, I won't be. That's the hawthorn I once adored. Ooh, such a fire within those branches. Like any true hero, I won't be told what's best for my home. Yes, I will be bold to strike down any villain who stands in my way. My song will save the day. Let's begin this final act where I show you it's doubtless fact that tearing down the Ladrin walls will usher freedom for us all. Nature's beauty and its truth, of course, informed by my worldview. You'll see those pesky elves can't stay. I will reshape our realm today. But what would you know of the truth? Your love that withered like your root. Your fear how much my power grew. That's the core of our dispute.
For centuries, you haven't changed, although I wish you would. For all the power you have gained that you won't use for good. You think I left for fear of truth? Sorry, I disagree. My reason was you've always loved yourself and never me. Enough of squabbles of the past. I will not take your bait. I'll keep that portal tethered shut. Defeat will be your fate.
Mo's a ladder and have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know I am right, let nature flow.
The only thing you've ever known is how to boast, complain, and moan. When this ends, you'll be alone.
they're gone, the world will know. I am right, let nature flow. Those ladron have to go. To prove I am a true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know. I am right, let nature flow. Lemanias and dreaded lands offered me the perfect plan, a wondrous opportunity to crush a Ladron royalty.
Well, who are you to decide who in this realm survives? You think because you're an archfey that we will let them die?
Look at you, what you've become. They have you trapped under their thumb, twisted you with all their lives. Their palaces corrupt our skies. Your bitterness pollutes your leaves. You were never truly free. You never strayed far from your tree. Admit it, you wish you were me.
You never listen, never learn, despite how long it's been. Though I feel nothing taught, and now my bark was never thin. I met the Fae of the Windwood, I've known them as you never could, and through it all, for bad or good, every challenge we've withstood.
Mo's a ladron have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know. I am right, let nature flow.
The only thing you've ever known is how to boast, complain, and moan. When this ends, you'll be alone, pouting on your broken throne.
Mo's a ladron have to go. I'll prove I am the true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know. I am right, let nature flow. Mo's a ladron have to go. I'll prove I am a true hero. Once they're gone, the world will know. I am right, let nature flow. I can't say that I'm sorry, seeing you knocked to the ground. I knew that this would happen in this battle fought with sound. What shall our great heroes do as you face certain doom? Will they grovel at my feet or stand defiant through and through? You claim I'm the villain, well you crave a villain, have a taste! Being struck down by the king has always been your fate. There is only one way that this fable will be told. If you insist on fighting me, soon you'll learn your role. You tried your best, but alas, I knew that I would win. For in this fable of my realm, you are the true villain. And soon you'll see how better off we are in this new age. But for now, I must insist you step down from my stage. I see it now so clearly, this mission's mine to take. What's owed to me so dearly, this world's mine to remake.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the second half of the 15th anniversary Hangout right here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm DDO's Community Manager Cordovan. Gonna be with you for the next hour. I was trying to do a thing to see if I could put Notepad up on a screen, but it doesn't really want to do it. So let me try to think of a different way that I can be sneaky about this, if it's at all possible. Let's see. It just doesn't want to display. So I can, I think, display it. No, I can't display it as text either. So I'm going to have to maybe make a quick picture of it, and that's how I'll do it. What am I doing? Well, I'm going to be doing some giveaways. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing something in particular. I have got a bunch of codes for Party Punch. Yeah, you can thank Tolero and some other folks for that one, but I'm going to be giving out some codes for Party Punch in our chats. These are first come, first served, especially in the chats. They tend to go like that. So if you go to redeem code in the DDO store and it says it's already been used or any kind of error message whatsoever, it's been used, and they go very quickly. However, here are some codes for Party Punch. Good luck, folks, and I'm going to put some over on other places as well in the coming couple of hours. So that's what up. Alright. I'm also doing an Audible, kind of like I did here for Orion and Sarlona. I'm going to swap. I'm doing Wayfinder right now. Then I'm going to head on over to Thelanis. The reason is I was a little concerned that over on Thelanis there were already too many people waiting for me. And that would make it such that I might not even be able to log in. So I wanted to go to Wayfinder first before I cause any problems. So, hey, if you're on Wayfinder, now's your time. Head on over to the harbor. We're on Wayfinder. I could be in the harbor on Wayfinder. How's it going? So there we are. Presumably everybody can see the streams okay. What were we listening to, by the way, during that break? It was 2 versions of the Raid song put together by Bill Champagne, lyrics by Artemis. Additionally, Randy did sound production on it, and email. I want to make sure I get the credits right. Give me just a quick second. Randy Ryan for voice direction. Also, thanks to Brent and Charles, who we heard talk about the raid and all that sort of thing. And then finally, I would want to make sure that lyrics composed by Sonia McCree, music composed by Bill Champagne, vocals performed by 2 folks, the male, Scott McNeil, the female, Cindy Robinson. So 2 voice actors who are often on DDO, agreed to do this, and we really do want to thank them for that. So Scott McNeil and Cindy Robinson, thank you very much for your effort to do that. Hey, I see at least one person here. That person's going to be having a good time over on Wayfinder. No, there's a couple of Wayfinderians, and plus I know it's also pretty late for them, so that was the other reason I wanted to hit them up before I hit the Lannis, because they're about 5 hours ahead. However, it's their Friday night, so that's kind of a good time, actually, to stop by and get cool stuff over on Wayfinder. Welcome. This is a more casual live stream than the formal anniversary chat we did with Sev, which I thought actually turned out pretty good. The feedback I've read was pretty good. We knew that we wanted to answer some of the more challenging questions that had been put our way, but also do them in a way that wasn't going to cause us more headache, or also do it in a way that say other people within the company structure would not be comfortable with, things like that. So we wanted to make sure we did it to the best that we could, and how we ended up trying to do that is to filter a lot of the questions in kind of an interview format, although as you saw if you watched the chat, we also just took lots of raw questions from Twitch chat. But that's sort of what we did, and I think we managed to address most of the things that I'd seen in terms of, say, like pre-forum question lists. There were some topics that were maybe a little too granular that just didn't make sense, but overall, that was a pretty good interview, I thought, this week. And so if you haven't had a chance to see it, perhaps you might ought. And you can see that over on Twitch and on YouTube. We also just had I also want to thank the team. I wasn't quite sure how much they were going to be able to hang out with me today and all that sort of thing. Like I said, we're all kind of working from home, and it's been a week, right? You think it's been a week for maybe marketing, who's done a lot of stuff this week, or you as a player in that too. But the developers, this is a culmination of a lot of work for them, because this is both, the raid and the anniversary, essentially the anniversary patch. I mean, this is 48.4, but this is a pretty big update in terms of the amount of work that went into it at Standing Stone Games. So it's our anniversary weekend, so very exciting times. We're thrilled. 15 years is amazing. It's wonderful, and that is entirely thanks to everyone who plays the game, has played the game, used to play the game, still plays the game with their kids, etc., and all that sort of thing. So, lots of things have been brought together over the past 15 years to make DDO the success that it has been. Everybody knows that DDO's never been had WoW-style numbers, right? Although we did very well for free-to-play when we first launched and all that sort of thing. But that's never been the point. It's always been a more boutique, handcrafted experience, if I can use that term. We're artisanal, is what I'm trying to say. No. I'm just saying that if we were a donut, if DDO were a donut, it would be a darn good one. And there wouldn't be 80 million of them made. That's what I mean. Incidentally, I've said this before, but there are people who are always new to this information. If you ever know the voice of the timid sentient gem that I was lucky and fortunate to be able to voice back in the day, and you want to know the story of it, the story is the voice of the sentient gem is actually a baker. It is a person who was a baker and was making donuts, and a sentient gem ended up in the donut, and the baker tried one of the donuts and happened to eat the one that had the sentient gem on it, choked and died, and through the power of the magic item contained within the sentient jewel, became trapped in the sentient jewel. So the voice of the timid is actually that of a timid baker who found themselves in an adventurer's sword or what have you, and is then like, oh my god, why am I here? And that's why that voice of the timid is the way it is. That was the character that was in my head when I was doing that work, for those of you who are curious. I don't believe it's officially written down as lore or anything, nor probably could it be, nor maybe should it be, but nonetheless, that is the truth. I assure you, that is the character I created when doing that voice work. So, yeah. Oh, I also need to turn up my sound here a little bit for in-game. I had turned it down so that it wasn't bleeding through while I got ready for the live stream here. So now we're back up to normal volume levels, and I'm just doing some real nice drop-offs, I think, here. Have I already done Shen's on Wayfinder? I'm trying to do one round of Shen's Robe, which is like the one item that I have in my community loot list that the power-hungry, those who hunger for power and glory, tend to prefer over most of the other items in the community loot list, and I guess I could probably tell you why. Let's see, so that's the command to do the thing, and then I do that. Alright, so, there we are. So, Shen's Robe is min-level 0, min-level 1, and it gives you a 15 jump. It gives you no armor, and you have to wear it. But, there are times, at level, say, 3, where having 15 jump really is nice. even if you're trading your entirety of AC or whatever for it. The robe itself, I have no idea where this robe came from. It's been around for a while. It's the one item on the community loot list that has actual power value. Basically, everything else is utterly useless, and that's the point. I just heal light. There's a few things, but for the most part, it's not meant to actually do anything. Except for the Shen's robe. So for this for this 15th anniversary, I've been making a point when I've been doing these 15, 20-minute long things, that I've been dropping lots of Shens this year. It seemed appropriate since one of the free items this year was the token, which, you know, I would love to know what item you ended up going for. I think the popular ones still, if you never got it from, say, the Raiders reward box in particular, or the 10th anniversary, is probably that Heroic Quiver of Alacrity, right? That seems to be the one that everyone's gunning for. Although the Epic Quiver of Alacrity is really nice as well. It does give you a negative 60 concentration, but depending on if you're a Quicken user, like my clerics tend to be, I don't care where my concentration is, even though I'm a cleric, because anything in which concentration would ever matter, I'm just going to pop Quicken on and call it done. So, the Epic Quiver works great for me. I like the attack speed boost from it. So sue me. Anyway, so that's another really good one. The other one is, of course, the Sword of Shadow, another popular choice. Epic Litany of the Dead, although it does have a taint of evil, might be a consideration for some. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff in there, I think. I think Steel Star and crew worked pretty hard to put together a list that was both different from the 10th anniversary / Raiders reward box, but also in line with it. And I think they did a pretty good job, so I want to thank them for doing that this year. In addition to the 15th anniversary cloak, which I don't know if I've redeemed on my admin. Oh, actually, I can't do that yet. A second. Alright, never mind. I'll have to do that later. I don't have the cloak, I don't think, on this character right now. Alright, let me spawn a few monsters here on Wayfinders for the fine folks who are there. I'm going to do that dragon. That seems to be a pretty good mob in terms of both not destroying the game world and lasting more than a few seconds and being totally beatable. Especially in Wayfinder. Look at that. Just destroyed it instantly. Yeah. Well, if you're going to be like that, let me see if I can bring out a little bit bigger guns. Let's see what this one is. Always a good thing to say before spawning a creature in the game world. There we go. But very appropriate for classic DDO. One of the coolest original models, if I do say so myself, from the original game. I turned out. Alright, now, however, let me see what else I can do, since we have that. One of the most annoying monsters in the game. Annoying, you say? Why, yes. Oh my god. No, I can't do that. I can't. Oh, sorry. How about, no, I'm not going to do rust monsters either. Nor am I going to do air elementals. Nor am I going to do mummies, because they can all cause persistent effects. What would be a really good, annoying monster to do? The Death Cube. I could see I don't want to do that, because without warning people. See, that's what I was going to say on an ooze, but then I'm a little worried about what that might cause, so I'm going to say no on the ooze. Well, I can do another gelatinous cube. That's what I can do. We'll do a gelatinous cube. I was a little worried that because oozes split and that can cause problems. So. Let's try this. Ooh, there, that one's lasting a fairly long time. Bonk. You thought I was done? No, I'm not done. Ha 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 ha. I am the god. Nobody can stop me. Not even. No, they could totally could. All right. So yeah, I guess I should probably move back to some item giveaways for the fine folks there. How about the Titan wands? Since they were just fighting some Titans. So these items, for those who don't know, are from a list called the Community Loot List. Community Loot List. And you can find it on the wiki. It is updated. And what it is a list of items that have been created for various events, festivals, out of game sort of gatherings like conventions. And just a few kind of odds and ends that over the years got orphaned, as it were, and never had a home. And since they were generally not items of power, that Shenzarobe notwithstanding, they made it onto a list that I was able to put together a while back for use for things like Extra Life giveaways, Movember, and also be able to offer some of this, although not really on the DDO side, to you, because I can't do codes against this stuff in particular. I have to be able to mail it to you, but I do it through like these kind of public events with public drops and all that. So if you're watching this today and saying, well, I'm never going to get this thing, that's not actually true. You too can have one quite easily, in fact. All you need to do is start paying attention next, say, October, November, December, and I do charity drives for Extra Life and Movember, and these items are the community loot list that are there for anybody who makes generally a fairly minor donation, usually like $10 is usually about the threshold I put to the donation to get this stuff. And then you can at least get a couple picks, and if you can be a little more generous, then you can usually get a whole bunch of stuff. It kind of goes up exponentially in terms of the number of items you can get. So for those who like to maybe donate $20 a year to a children's hospital or something like that, come October they'll often do that, and then over the course of a couple of years get all the items that they're looking for, in addition to things like forum titles and some other giveaways that I do. So this is not super rare stuff that I'm dropping at the 15th anniversary. Often quite the opposite, and oftentimes. But it's cool, and that's sort of the point. So it's neat. All right, why don't I look for some kind of cool troll or something? Trolls are always pretty fun, and they can hit hard. Let's see what this one does. Okay, that's just a basic fiendish troll. Okay, that's not even close. All right. That one, maybe. Oh no! Did that one instant death? That was weird. What did I do there? How about... At least this is new. Yep. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Alright, so let me let me call up this quick thing here, huh? It'll take just a second. Alright, there we are. Thank you to everyone who's wishing us well in game chat when I tend to log in. There's a bunch of people saying, hey, happy anniversary. Thank you. It's a little hard to get back to everyone there, but yes, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, I'm going to do a last drop of hand sanitizer here for the Wayfinder server. I'm capping each one off with a dash of these hand sanitizers. Not only does it seem thematically appropriate for given the year and times we live in, but they're actually also another nice item, and they're a consumable item, so I don't have to worry so much about it. And they prevent mummy rot, in addition to curing mummy rot, and a bunch of other stuff too. So they're really nice. These were originally made for 2012. They had nothing to do with COVID. They were originally made for 2012 for PAX East, which, remember, at the 2011 PAX East is the PAX East that created the term PAX Plague. And so 2012 was hand sanitizer. All right. Alright, I want to... What do I want to actually do next? I'm going to head over to Thelanis, but I want to get the Beholder up or something here for a sec. So I can do that without worry. I could just actually put my face in this one here and swap. Do you like this little transition? I'm still working on it, but it's looking pretty good, I think. I actually want to make my camera a little bit smaller. That'll work. Oh no, but see, I'm trying to cover the Beholder up. That's why it's the size it is. Okay, there we go. Good enough. Now I'm going to head on over to Thelanis. I know that I'm not doing a whole lot of in-game stuff this year, although more than last year. But let's be real, this in-game stuff is neither fun to watch nor really fun to be a part of. It's cool, though. I like doing it. It's just that... about the time that we can start having fun, we crash the game world, because it's just not meant for this kind of interactivity. With that many people in one small space, and all those effects and everything. Fighting monsters. Yeah, the Warlock aura colors are pretty cool. Alright, I am heading to Thelanis here, and I'm just getting ready to get in game now. Oh, I'm gonna go. I got it. I know where I'll go. Okay. No one will be bothered, I don't think, really with me here. So, check that. Alright. I am on Thelanis, and I am here hanging out with you for the 15th anniversary. Going to be rolling until about 8 o'clock here, but I wanted to take a minute to give away some Party Punch codes over on our chat rooms. Now, I'm also going to drop them into YouTube and Facebook. Remember, real quick, first come, first serve. They're going to go quick. This is going to first to redeem it through the DDO store through redeem code gets it. I'm going to put this up. I might even do something for the archive, but at the very least, here's an alternate way for those who don't want to get glommed right away by codes in chat. Good luck.
Slow me down. Slow me down. Batten down the hatches. Hang away. Hang away. There's a fire eater in the library. You smell like a hairy bilge rat hanged 3 days on a gaff.
All right, and we've got a crowd. We've got a crowd on Thelanis, so let's get to it here, huh? It's true that some people can't maybe get here, but clearly that's not a problem for most folks. Also at this point, man, if you didn't pick up Monty when it was like, what, 95% off, 85% off at one point, what the heck were you waiting on? Not that you don't, maybe you just didn't want it, but that's fine, that's fine. I've been also giving out pork barrels, which are another old anniversary item that are pretty nifty, so. And they spawn pretty well, which is kind of nice too. There we go. Now, because again, power item, and it's the one item everybody wants from the list. Chance. Is not a valid code different? It could be. I have no idea what the error messaging is going to give you. It changes too, but I think, you know, they were kind of... Probably just means it's been used. Almost certainly. Almost certainly that's what it means. Okay, there's the shunts. Let me do the Winter Wolf. People tend to like that one. By the way, we do have lots of cool streaming happening tonight. There's a reason I picked Friday, besides the fact that I just couldn't do a big stream on Sunday, is that we have got Brock and Friends. So that's going to be starting at a little bit after 8 here. And then a little bit after 10 here, we have got Baklagor for Fridays on Ice. So a really great time to just maybe hang out in DDO. Run the anniversary event if you want to. Run whatever if you don't. Maybe watch some of our live streams here throughout the night and that sort of thing. And celebrate 15 years of Dungeons & Dragons Home. I am at home, as you are well aware, probably. I'm not working from the office. We are still COVID work from home for the foreseeable future. Has been for not quite a year now, but it will be a year next month. overall, it's been good, and we've been able to keep going and do our thing, thanks in large part to your support. And, 2020 was a big year for us, and a big year for the world, and a big year for you. And our free-to-play effort was, I think, a pretty particularly significant part of the year 2020 for many of us. So we really appreciate that, and hope you stick with us for years to come. Alright, time to drop a few mobs. First, let's see how these... I use this dragon as a good outlier. That's part of why I like to spawn it in every world here. I will give them the chipmunk, even though I'm going to have to, as people have noticed, I have to do it. I wonder if those Reaper wings aren't causing issues too. Wow, that's a lot of people though. Oh my gosh, it's too many people for the instance. Yeah, they don't like that chipmunk. What did that chipmunk ever do to them? This is really amusing, although I think I'm kind of tanking the game world, so I better watch out. Now where did he go? Oops. Alright, well, I think I'm killing the lance, so maybe I should not. Yeah, I can still move okay, so as long as I can still move like this, then I can still drop some items. And then even when I leave the game world then, until that instance collapses, which it won't for a while because of all the people that are in it, others will be able to pick up this stuff. And technically even you can if there's any dregs that kind of get left over, but I don't... Typically this stuff doesn't persist more than a couple minutes after I leave, I don't think. Just because people come and pick it up. But it is there if you want to. And we'll see what else I can do. But I can't, like I said, it would be nice to have some kind of delivery system for everyone in the game and all that. But that's not the point of this. This is just a little live stream stunt as much as anything else that we've just been doing since we've been doing this Twitch thing. Because it's fun, and because people sometimes enjoy seeing an admin character in action and that sort of thing. If we were actually intending to, quote, distribute an item to everybody in the game, this is not how we would do it. So when I see that on the forums of like, why don't they just give something to everybody and then do that? It's like, well, we do. Happy 15 DDO is our anniversary gift. And then also Punchy is our weekly coupon. It gets you a free party punch. So those are the freebies, and then this is just kind of madness, to be honest. But I'm doing it anyway, because it's fun. And it's always a pretty cool time. So I think, though, if I don't head off to Lannis pretty soon, I might really be causing some problems. So let me do that last round of hand sanitizer. And then perhaps shift gears further, as it were, for the remainder of the live stream, rather than trying to do in-game visits, which really, honestly, this is not very compelling content to watch in-game stuff either. That's the other thing. It's not the most exciting thing to watch, but it's also special and fun, and is kind of fun to watch. So, but that said, it is kind of madness. So I need to head, I think, off with Atlantis here before I tank the game world. And kick things down a notch then for the remainder of the show, which there's about an hour or so left. About an hour left. Alright, let me do that. Wank. Alright, so I'm actually going to put back on the Beholder for just a couple of minutes. I want to go refill my water here for this last hour. Stretch my legs for just a quick minute. So I'll be back in just a bit. Yep, that was Cindy Robinson, who does our kobold voice, doing an interpretation of a kobold, doing the song from the new raid. So, that's a good one, isn't it? That's an outtake, as it were. Alright, so, for the next hour, I'm going to go in game and do a little bit of just kind of casual questing on one of my characters. But I also wanted to really focus a little bit more on our chat giveaways. So particularly if you are on Twitch, we're going to do a few more chat giveaways. And over on both Twitch and YouTube, we're going to do another drop here in a little bit of some Party Punch codes. But for some DDO points code giveaways, I'm going to pick a winner randomly here from chat who shows up in the next... that. I could try to get Streamlabs working. I wonder if I have Streamlabs actually linked in right now. Let me take a look. I suppose I could have done that, but I'm actually just... No, I don't want to. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, which is the way I want to do it. So there we go. And then we're going to dump a bunch of codes into Twitch chat too. So what do we got going on for our 15th anniversary? We are going to be doing 15% heroic and epic XP. This goes basically through Wednesday. We have also got 15% VIP XP on top of the 10% VIP XP that you already get. We have got the anniversary event going through March 23rd. We have got the coupon Happy 15 DDO, which will get you the new cloak, and it'll get you the new raid item token that you will turn in to the genie in House Fjarlin, where the anniversary event is. And there we are. I have with me on this character here Puster. Puster is my new creature companion. The new one from the event. He does some cute things. Here's his dance. This is his eat. Here's his roar. This is the fall over. And he'll just stay there until you click it again. And then here's cower. Although I don't know why you would want your poor thing to cower. You want it to roar. And dance. And eat. And sit. All right, so yeah, this is the anniversary genie. Now, the anniversary genie, the anniversary token collector, is going to stick around after the anniversary event is done. So the anniversary event goes through March 23rd. The coupon code is good through December 31st of 2021 here. So, we're going to be doing another push, later this year, like this fall, this winter, on this Happy 15 DDO code. So this is, and you've got plenty of time to redeem it, so don't worry about it. But at the same time, make sure you tell your friends who maybe used to play DDO or whatever, and have them log in and check this stuff out. It's free raid loot, and I guarantee you there's something halfway decent in there, unless you truly have everything, in which case maybe you just need to go for the XP, which, hey, at least it's something, right? So there we go. Tolero is the one where you get the anniversary event rewards. And the new one is the red crystal crown here. That's what I'm wearing. This Ruddy Dretchling certificate. The house cloaks that came out a while back. They're pretty cool. You saw those on one of the Cordovan characters, I believe on Galanda. So, I think that's it. I don't think we have any new cookies or anything this year. But we do have all the stuff that's been around for a while. All, it's got its fans and got its uses. Yes, indeed. So, like the Broccoli Basher might be one to consider. Some of these consumable ones are pretty good too. We still have the commemorative Stormreach D12, which will take you to the marketplace, and the Sentient Jewel of the Kobold, which is still maybe reigning supreme as the best, or certainly one of the best sentient gems in the entire game. So, also, did we have Lomazir's to-do list last time? I can't remember if Lomazir's to-do list made it for this year or last year, if that's new or not. Oh, here we go. And then Artemis Aegis. I believe that's new too, isn't it? Was that from last year? Can't remember on that one. Okay, yeah, so those two must have been in last year's stuff then. Yeah, there we go. Let me just pop in quick. Turn-in is in House Fjarlin, back by the House Fjarlin Chapter Hall, I believe is what it's called, right? So the one thing that has not happened yet, so you're going to see the reaction firsthand here this year, just because I've been busy and doing a million other things, I haven't actually seen the Cordovan fight this year. I have no idea what to expect, and no idea what they did. So let's find out together. This is my actual reaction to battling myself in this year's anniversary event. Okay. Okay. Alright. Do I need to equip the fiddle? I bet this is like a Feywild thing, right? Alright.
A dark figure beckons to you. Welcome, he cries cheerfully as he raises his weapon.
Well, pretty normal there. The Caneth cannons are new. What happens if I use a fiddle near one? Does that do anything? Oh, I could just get interrupted, so. Well, it looks like you can just kind of beat them down, and then they'll go into their whatever state. Regen state. While you focus on the boss fight. A little bit more damage. A little bit more damage. A little bit more healing. Alright. Read the soggy letters on the table? Okay. Okay. Okay, well apparently you don't have to kill him. How can I do this without getting...
Not cool.
Nope. Now they're music eating gargoyles. Nice. Alright. Password protected security key. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, read the thing on the table, someone said. Oh, on the table out here. Okay. The soggy letter. Okay. Oh, that would probably be over here, though. I don't see it yet. Let's just fight Steel Star then. Oh, behind Militia. Oh, over here.
Spot an unexpected figure among the party guests. Your old nemesis, Militia. What is the succubus doing at an event like this?
Alright, I know what that's about. I know what that's about.
An impressive warforged turns to face you.
Oh, also,
There you
yes,
are.
I do have a
I've
million
been dying to try this out.
snow elementals. Why do I have a million snow elementals? I don't know. Because I had a lot of extra copper coins and I wanted to prove a point. That's fine. So I am not actually 100% sure that we intended to give out 10 of them per stack. Instead, perhaps it was meant to be one. But that's the way they spawn from the base items, so. And they just, well, why not? I have like 400 and some of them now. Why not? For whatever.
The warforged clatters to the ground, but the head somehow continues speaking. Still a few problems with this build. I know, next time I'll try a different rune arm, or maybe a crossbow.
Yeah, so I'm still not 100% sure what's up with that violin. Maybe there's clearly there's an order of operations thing that I didn't quite nail. That's fine. Oh, which sword am I using? I'm just using a Morning Lord Kopesh, but the graphic is of a smoldering Kopesh that I really like the look of. It was a smoldering Kopesh that I like the look of, and then it's got the aura of the. What it's got the aura of? I can't remember now. Is that Ravenloft? I think that's Ravenloft, right? And then here, like I say, there's the new crown. And I've got the shield from the warrior from Borderlands. There's the 15th anniversary cloak. And then I've just got, the cool cosmetic.
A figure sits brooding on a
Yeah,
throne,
Barovian Mistara.
surrounded by skulls.
Oh, the 12th anniversary armor cosmetic? Maybe I should. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I could just go 100% cosmetics, but if this is actually just I guess you could say this is my current main. And so that's just what I've been enjoying. The look of. In some cases since yesterday. I did a bunch of, like I said, I wanted to check, so there was a thread on the forums, that I saw that talked about, that was concerned that the party punch was just flat out pay to win. And so I wanted to put that person's claim and get my own experience on it. So I chugged one of the party potions. And I went into... Should I? No. Am I going to say? I went into Butcher's Path and basically just ground it for like an hour. Just kind of see what sort of return you would get on the party punch. Doing the thing what ought people do sometimes for Crystal Cove, essentially. And it turned out just fine in terms of the acquisition rate. The acquisition rate was very similar. Oh, this is Fantus. Oh, that's nice. This is new too, obviously. That's cool. Very nice. So I was talking about the acquisition rate of that item. So what I ended up doing is, after just chug the potion, grind. At the end of an hour, I ended up with, it was about 109 party favors. Now that's after an hour of, let's be honest, it was tedious. It's not the kind of thing you would normally do, unless of course you were getting way more party favors bang for your buck than you might otherwise, like it was some kind of big pay-to-win item. So I can, however, here's the thing. That didn't actually seem like that many to me. I was going in solo, just first off, because it is true that it's based on the person who kills the mob. So I just went in there and just kind of min-maxed it and saw what I got. And I could get similar to that in a group running this anniversary event 5 levels over, because that will net you 12 per run. And so you're looking at approximately 8 runs. Can you do 8 runs in an hour with a group of the anniversary event? Oh, totally, right? So, that was what I did last night, frankly, for my first hour. But that was enough to get the cloak or what have you. So we give out the free party punch this week with the coupon code party. So if there's like maybe one of the items on the anniversary rewards list, and you really want to get the item in the shortest amount of time possible, and you're not, in a position to solo the anniversary event perhaps as quickly as some others, what have you, etc., etc., etc. You can basically get the item with using that free party punch, and kind of doing the same thing you do for Crystal Cove or treasure map pieces. But the intention is not some big pay-to-win thing. I think you would have a greater return than you would otherwise, were that the main goal. The goal is really, for those who burn out on the event, you've run it a million times and you just don't want to run it anymore, or your guild wants to do something else, for the next couple of weekends or something like that, and you still want to make sure that you're acquiring party favors, enough to at least get the new stuff. That's what the party punch is about, so you can go and chug that, and including now, especially one for free, just go and do that. So anyway, I didn't think that was too bad. Now, I had actually 90-some. The reason I got both the couple of items here, the Dretch and the Crown, is because I still had 93 party favors from the last anniversary, because they carry over. So that was easy. So I had all the stuff just right there. Yeah, there's something else is what's the value, and that's the intended purpose of it, right? And I think we've been pretty clear about that. So hopefully it works well for those of you who want it, and it's just an option. So You can totally ignore it if you want to. I mean, you can get way more doing a run through the event with a party. We had a group today and got it down to 1 minute, 55 seconds per run. That is really fast. I am pretty slow, clearly tonight especially. I'm just kind of hiking my way through this thing. But in a good group, you can certainly do one about every 5 to 7 minutes pretty easily. 5 to 10, let's say. But, so fitting in 8 in an hour, which is the equivalent of kind of solo grinding your way through tedious low-level mobs. If you're going to end up about the same, all said and done, you know, I'm less concerned about the party punches' impact on,
and collapses.
you know, the pay-to-win discussion. I don't know, 155, man, that is crazy talk. That is nice. Actually, let me, yeah, I do like my sword graphic too. Let me actually see if I can, yeah, look at this thing. Look how cool that is. This was just a random gen smoldering Kopesh. I think it was a Kopesh anyway, that I picked up from Temple of Elemental Evil back in the day. And I just thought it was cool. So I've just sort of hung on to it ever since. A couple of people asking if we're releasing the Autos box for the anniversary event. No. We do have back for a limited time the Wish of Inheritance. Additionally, we do have double bonus points going on. And we've got 15% off the stuff as listed in the Lotro or DDO Chronicle, which has not yet been published because I didn't publish it because I had to live stream it for all races, classes, and iconics. All ability, action point, XP, skill, and fate tomes in the DDO store, 15% off through March 4th. In addition, then our sales stuff is the Wish of Inheritance, double bonus points, and yeah, that's it. So this is more about the freebies than give us lots of money. We appreciate your support, but this is not specifically so much a event catered toward heavy monetization as they might say in an executive boardroom somewhere.
The harbor master nods at the door. The kobolds are back there. Maybe you can do
Yeah, it was just random. I'm pretty sure it was just random. Normally I go for the
kobolds rally around a bonfire.
Lacerator is generally the cosmetic I like the look of most, although we've done some really great stuff in recent years, so my old school Lacerator love is nostalgic as much as objective. Yeah, you're right. It could have been a TOE upgrade drop as well, so maybe it's not random gen. Either way, it's from a smoldering Kopesh. That much I do know. For the live stream, I should run the Dryden Demigod raid. I really strongly considered that, but ultimately, the raid is a little bit too new. I want to make sure that I have had a few runs through it with the guild myself before I try to do it, open it up to the judgment of the world. And then also there's concern about getting too spoilery with it, because there are a lot of people who are waiting until, well, until tonight probably, frankly, tonight, tomorrow, tonight, for a lot of people, to run the raid for the first time with their guild. So, I didn't quite feel like it would have been a good call to get too spoilery with the raid here on the live stream, especially if I can't show it off in a way that is like guide worthy or anything like that. So, too much pressure in some ways.
The kobolds have transformed the chapter house into an armed camp.
But then also the spoiler thing is a big thing. But, that said, I'm streaming until about 8 o'clock here, at which point Brock and Friends is going to take over, and then after they're done, we're going to have Backlagor back. Backlagor is back, and that is awesome. I miss his show. I am a personal fan of Fridays on Ice, which begins every Friday. Well, basically was beginning every Friday, and is now back to beginning every Friday around 10 o'clock. Show him some love, man. Show him some love. Anyway, that's on twitch.tv/DDO stream. However, 11 o'clock is my weekly guild night. And on my weekly guild night, we are going to be running the Dryad and the Demigod. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. And I do think I would like to... So, actually, part of this character right here, part of the reason I've been playing this character, more than most recently, is in part because I've been getting this character completely raid flagged. They're gonna stay parked at 30 for a little bit. I'm not TRing Gamogul here for a while. The cleric is doing pretty well and is suiting the needs of our guild quite well as well. So I'm just gonna be doing this and for a little bit. But because of that, I wanted to make sure I was raid flagged. So I am flagged on this character for almost every raid in the game, minus Tower of Despair, Titan, and maybe Heroic Lord of Blades. Not sure if I've run those or not. But my goal is at some point, I would like to maybe even head to the forums or something like that. It's all going to have to be on Thalanus, because it is one raid flagged character, this one. But I am thinking about doing a series of raid live streams. And what that would be is, I'm not leading raids. I don't lead raids. I'm not a big raid leader. But I am, I would run raids on Thalanus and basically run as close to all of them or all of them in a row. Maybe spread out over 2 or 3 shows. Something like that. Anyway, it's something that's been kind of kicking around in my head that I might do here at some point in the future. It seems like that'd be pretty fun. The problem with me leading the raids is one, I'm not a raid leader. 2, I don't like that kind of social pressure, especially for a community manager. I'm going to be judged too much, and I can't handle it. So, no, I can handle it, but I don't want to put myself in that position. It's not worth people saying, how good or not good I am at raiding, and how good or not good I am at finding my way around raids and knowing what to do and all the rest. I am not a raid leader, and that's fine. And I don't really want that pressure on top of trying to produce a good show, which is ultimately what this is about. So the other possibility I've been kicking around is, because of that, I'm actually thinking about whether I could, well, there was a time where I was considering whether I might even pre-record it and kind of edit it down a little bit. I don't think I'm going to do that, though, now that I say it out loud. I think that that idea has been somewhat jettisoned, but it would be live because it's going to have to be live to be just way more fun. But it is going to be, you can't run a show and try to make it a good show and deal with all these chat rooms and everything and lead a raid, especially if you're not really the raid leader type.
Says one to the other.
When? I have no idea when. This is an idea that's been formulating in my head for a couple weeks. I'm assuming I get flagged for Todd within the next couple of weeks and knock off any other final flagging I want to do. Then should be ready to go within a couple weeks here, I'd say.
You spot the new dark overlord of all.
But anyone who is expecting like super high quality raid skills is going to be very, very disappointed. It'll be fun though. It'll be fun. I haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna do it. I might just... I haven't decided if I want to just do the marathon thing, or if maybe I want to, you know, like practice each raid a little bit first privately, and then do it a live stream of it. You know, I've kind of kicked around a couple of different ideas of how this might work, and I don't really have a final decision on it at this point, but it seems like a good enough idea that, you know.
Oh, all right, sighs Malicia. I'll help you with your pathetic little friend. Now to return.
No, I am definitely not doing like a 24-hour or even a 12-hour marathon. I don't like those things. I think they're very unhealthy, and both mentally and physically. I don't like them. So I'm not doing one.
Malicia uses her arcane powers to open a pathway leading into the mind of Jeets. It's very clear what's on Jeets' mind. Malicia is not amused.
This isn't
The
flattering.
Jeets you know
It's
vanishes,
mortifying.
and in his place stands something far more sinister. Not to mention a whole lot taller. The dark form recoils from your assault. The dark overlord seems to be weakening.
So I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I've been streaming for 3 some hours here. I'm not used to long live streams. I don't really do them that much, so I am winding it down a little bit. But it's been a really fun time though. I did enjoy doing the Game World thing. It was really nice to be able to do a little bit of a giveaway. I know that there's a lot of people. You know, I miss more people than I hit on those kind of in-server giveaways, and you know, I always kind of feel bad when I hear people afterwards say something like, "Oh, couldn't we just get a pet rock?" And to some extent, I'm pretty generous when it comes to, I just need that one thing, please. In private message and that. But every time I say that, I end up getting like literally 50 people trying to get freebies, and that is perhaps a little out of scope for something I can do. So, but every now and then, if you've got a good sob story, as it were, about maybe something that is particularly meaningful to you or something like that, just let me. Well, and it's from the community elite list. Of course, that's what I'm talking about. If it's from that, just let me know. So I've got about 20 minutes, though. What more trouble can I get in 20 minutes? Oh, I can totally crash a Game World. But I think I'm not going to just grind the anniversary event. Let me see. Think a little bit about what might be best. I don't have access to too many secrets or anything, and I played the versions of the songs. Because I'm working from home, I don't quite have the access to the archives that I might have if I were in the office. I don't know if I've got anything I can really sneak out there or not. Let me take a look. But I can definitely do some more giveaways. So I'm gonna hit up chat here. Again, this is first come, first serve on some party favor codes over in Twitch chat. Good luck, everybody. Alright, I'm gonna try to do one more of these painterly things. That was kind of not working. Okay. I think. And that might even preserve one for maybe the streamers or the people who view this afterwards. Okay. Minimize that real quick. Boink. This is for Party Punch. The other thing I've heard about is there are actually some like bots that just scrape Twitch chats and things. So I can't even guarantee that you have a chance to get it. But still, it's a thing. I know some people have gotten them occasionally, so there you go. Alright. If you didn't get it, well, maybe you can get it afterwards. So what do I want to run here for the final 15 minutes or so? I wonder what would be... I think I know what I'm going to run. Despite me being level 30, I think I'm going to run this. Just because it's a fun little nod to something way back in the day. Actually, change my mind. Let me think about it. What? I don't know. What do you want me to run? Anyone got? Yeah, Stormcleave might be something. Oh yeah. Stormcleave. Let's do that. Stormcleave will work. Stormcleave will work. This is, well. Yeah, this'll work. This'll work. There was a time where this is what people were doing instead of grinding party favors at the anniversary event. They were over in Thrinal Ruins. But no, they were not running the quest. Level 10 quest for your first Vorpals? Absolutely. Yeah. The quest itself is great. I know a lot of people like to slam coil and all that other kind of jazz, but you know, it's the 3-null quest chain is really nice in many ways. And Dave Arneson's voiceover work is amazing. Despite its raw nature, it's real. Are we ever going to add a lifetime sub to the game? I'm going to say no on that. I can't imagine that we would ever do a lifetime sub for Didio. Certainly not at this point. I'm not sure I could just plain ever imagine us doing it. So these caves, right? Such a weird little bit of DDO history. They don't even show up on the adventure tracker there. Why not, you might ask? Because you just slay 5. Well, it used to be slay 5 giants, but we still have a bug in these because they're so old that it just doesn't make any sense anymore. But, yet, this was once a quest of sorts that people would grind to get, loot. Yeah, there are these weird non-quest quests in a way that I bet there are people who are watching who didn't even know these existed. Oh, I am just one-shotting everything. I'm level 30, and this is a level 9 quest. And it was never a balanced quest, because like I say, it's this weird one-off where it is not actually a quest, except it's a quest. And the reason for that is just some kind of weird quirk of nature back when these, whatever they were created. And that's it, right? You get your chest down here, and you can grind it if you want. Is that true? Ah, yeah, a place like where you would get your first mithril plate. That's true. Are the walk-ups in Manectaran Desert ever going to be made epic or legendary? I don't know that that is something that is really on our radar to do, so I'm tempted to say, I don't want to say never, but it would happen at a different point in time where a different group of things were being worked on. So it would be involved if we ever did some big desert content, perhaps, or I don't know, not even sure ultimately what it would take to perhaps tweak some of the issues with the walk-ups there, but in terms of making it epic or legendary, you know, like I say, there's people who would like to do that, but it just is not really, doesn't fit into the current priority list. It just doesn't. So the other thing you could do back in the day is, right, 3-null arena altar. And if you got the right thing, you can do a fight. And there you go. But there's also another cave in here somewhere. I can't remember. It's been so long now. I think it might just be up this way, but it's been too long. In here. So anyway, that's a couple little bits of history, as it were. So. Yeah, 3 caves? There are 3, yeah, okay. No, it gets you, it doesn't get you much. It doesn't get you much. But it's some deep, it's a deep cut, as they were, into DDO, as it were. So where do we sit in terms of time? I think now we got about 10 minutes left. That should be enough time to. What else could I show off? All right, I am going to do a rotating wheel here, where I just scroll up the wheel, and I'm going to pick some winners and get you some points codes. I think, though, I might need something as a background while I do that. I don't know how many people know that this is a thing either, but... Alright, that'll work. Okay, so... I am going to do a couple of 500 Lotro or DDO points. Sorry, I keep doing that. Sorry about that. I will give out a couple of 100-point codes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just whisper it to you, and there you go. I'm just literally just picking a name at random. List. How do I list it, though? Can I do it from here? Not. I have to do it from a different Twitch interface. No problem. I can do that. Alright, I'm doing it from a different Twitch interface, that just being twitch.tv, because I need the non-mod version of the stream in order to do this. So, I am going to... Sylvan Ria, congratulations. This code can get entered through redeem code in the DDO store, and we'll get you 100 points. I am Samoth. Congratulations. You have got yourself 100 points. And yeah, I'll give you a follow here. I can't do it in the middle of the show here. Alright, let me head back. Cirrus Raven. Congratulations. You've got 100 points. Alright, let's pick a healing only. There you go. Congratulations, you got 100 points. And let's do one more here. How about Random Rice 1? There you go. Congratulations. You get 100 points. I'm literally just scrolling my eyes, stopping at 1 and saying you. There you go. All right, cool. So, I don't know. What else? There was just a few more minutes here, I guess, in the show. I'm going to have everybody type in chat, happy 15 DDO. And then I'm going to pick a couple of you to get 500 DDO points codes. So, remember, happy 15 DDO in Twitch chat. And I'm going to pick someone here to, well, a couple of someone's here to get some 500 point codes. And, oh my god, that's scrolling by so fast I couldn't cheat if I wanted to. Holy gamoly. There's a lot more of you watching than I thought. Why? No, I'm kidding. Thank you. All right, Trilogy 29, I see you there. Congratulations. You get 500 points. Leopold 95. There you go. Leopoldo 95. You get one. There you go. Smashin' Cow MC. You get one. And then let's pull a couple more. Taplar DDO. There you get one. And then let's pull from the new. How about Jinx 808? There you go. Jinx 808, you're the final winner here of our giveaways. If I can click on your name. Oh my god, I can't click on your name. There you go. Yeah. Alright, there we go. So I think actually we're going to wrap up the show a few minutes early because we're pretty well wrapped up here. So just a reminder, we have got our 15% XP boost, Heroic and Epic, going through next Wednesday. It'll be replaced with the next bonus the following week. Additionally, plus 15% VIP XP. And we have got the anniversary event underway until through March 23rd. We have got the coupon code HAPPY15DDO, one per account. And that'll get you a couple of free gifts. You could find out a whole lot more on DDO.com/15th anniversary. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out and chat for our hangout here. Thank you to the DDO team who joined me for the first couple of hours. Thank you to Bill Champagne for the music. And thank you for being here, supporting us for as long as you have. It is the reason we're here. It's the reason you're here. And we very much appreciate it. So thank you, and have a great day.